Welcome to Journey Through the Gate, your paranormal portal podcast, as we delve into the many questions and wonders brought on by the supernatural experience. What's on the other side of the gate? Let's find out together.
Welcome in, gatekeepers. I mean, oh my goodness. Was that a short week, a long week? Was it too much week, not enough week? I don't even know. It went so fast, and I am absolutely delighted tonight to have so many treats that might possibly happen. Let's just put it that way. So this is going to be one of those shows where stuff is popping in and out and going all crazy. Let me go ahead and bring in my co-host for the night. You know him, you love him. He's a little crazy, but we like it like that. Mr. Donny Cho.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. So Donny, take the reins, my friend, and tell the gatekeepers here tonight. Welcome, 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 everybody. We're going to get to say hi to everybody tonight. AJK and Ann, Ted. Lindsay's listening off to the side. She's working and lurking. Maraid, our wonderful mods, Fast, Chris, Mark. Hello, welcome, Mark. So go ahead, Donny. Tell everybody.
Okay, well, last weekend, Laura and I went on a paranormal investigation to the topic of our show tonight, and we actually went on this podcast that's called The Confessional. They did the Confessionals. They did like a special tour and hangout, and so Laura and I signed up for that, and there was another guy on that trip that we got to meet, and we thought he was real cool, and I'm trying to suck him into the Cisco family here. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, doors always open.
So he was with us on the investigation, and so he kind of saw what we saw. So I'm going to bring him in. His name is Chisholm, and he's coming to us all the way from Kansas. Hey.
Hey. You're not in Kansas anymore, sweetheart.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going to happen tonight. Prepare for anything. So welcome, and thank you for coming in. Go ahead,
Good
Donny.
to see you, man. So the place that we went to, before we get into it, I just wanted to...
we also have another guest that popped in. You didn't know he was here, so do you want to introduce him as well?
Oh, yeah. So he is the man that brought us all together. He is the host of the Confessionals podcast, and
I cannot wait to meet him.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, and we're all fans of his. So yeah.
Okay, get just a titch more B-roll because he just jumped out of his chair, I think.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Nope, he's back. Okay, here we go. This is fantastic. Okay, here we go, and he is.
Yep.
Do you remember his
Tony
name?
Merkel.
There you go. Hello,
Hey,
Tony. Welcome.
Hey.
Pleased to meet you. I've heard so many nice things, but I honestly got to say, I don't know, like your backup bio and everything. What Donnie's told me today, I don't know how I don't know you, man.
Hey, it's a big world.
It is a big world, a big paranormal world, but I am absolutely pleased to meet you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy, I know, helter-skelter, we're all like that right now, to come in and talk to us about this, because this show is very much like yours, I'm sure. We're very big on conspiracy. God, honey, you and I could talk for hours and days and weeks. But the paranormal and the unknown and the what-ifs, so we're all in this big paranormal stew together, and I just think it's wonderful. Thank you for coming on tonight. Absolutely. I know you don't have much time either, so we're going to try to make it so everybody can tell their stuff. So, Donny, where did you guys go?
So we went to the Shanley Hotel. last year, Tony, you had the trip planned so that we all went to Burnbury Manor, and that is where I
Mhm.
met Laura for the first time, and that's how I got involved in all this here. And yeah, I credit Tony as being the one that brought me and Laura together so that she could introduce me to everyone else here. So thank you for that. And
There you go, AJK. We knew you'd
yeah,
be
I knew
happy about this
AJK
one.
was gonna like this. AJK is a super fan of yours, by the way.
He's just jumping up and down. His tail's
Yeah.
wagging like crazy right now, man. He's just
And
excited.
so last year we went to Burnbrae Manor, and then this year we went to the Shanley Hotel. I don't think any of us really knew much about it going in, right?
No.
No,
So
so you all really did kind of go in cold? I mean,
we
history
went
or
in cold.
anything?
A
That's good.
little
You know,
bit of
not
history I read.
expecting. Yeah.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say for me, my brother-in-law, he organizes these trips. He has a travel company, and so like this is his gig. And so I'm just like, yeah, bro, pick the place. I'll be there, no problem, you know. And so, I mean, I'm just like, I got a trip coming up. We'll find out when we get there what it's like, you know. And so,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, like I had like a general idea, you know, like it was at one time it was a hotel, that you know, but
Yeah. It's
uh,
kind of in the name.
right.
Yeah.
But I think actually both times that we did a trip, when I found out about the trip, as far as like information about it, is when me and him sat down to record to tell the audience where we're going and what we're doing. Like, I just let him he'll pick it. Like, and sometimes he'll give me choices, and I'm like eeny meeny miny mo. So like I really do this cold with everybody else.
Yeah, but you know that's very cool. Somebody else who really believed a lot in that was Hans Holzer. I mean, you know, of course, anytime you bring in a medium or something, it's best just blind. You don't even know address, nothing. Just pick them up, bring them, and take. You know, so he was very big on that too. Not, I don't want to dig too much into the, you know, to this and that. He did it after. You know, so I thought that was kind of neat, and then went back again if necessary. So, you know, it's just that's kind of neat to not have any clue about where you're, you know, what you're doing. You need to think about the Hoover House because I guarantee you to be a whole different experience there.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Shanley
go in
was
there. It's not that much
like Hoover
further. It's
House.
Waynesboro, right near Gettysburg. You going to the Bash? Is anybody going to the Bash? Donnie, you're going, right?
I'm
Are you
going.
aware of the Bash, Tony?
No.
Okay,
Well,
it's a
Tony's going to
big.
be there with Steve
Oh,
in
that's right.
Tennessee. Yeah.
Wait. We got a little promo for you here, I think, if I can get my tech to work here. So it's not a fancy show, Tony.
Hey
We're
Donnie,
just all
Yeah.
home here.
send me my schedule because you know more than I do. Where am I going to be?
Where's he
No,
gonna be?
that was it the Dogman convention? That one?
Right there.
Yes.
With my good buddy Steve Stockton.
Yeah, our mutual friend Steve Stockton's going to be there as well. So I
Yeah,
told him to
and
say hi to
we
you.
promote it. He's on with me every Monday. I've known him for years and years. He's the one that got me to push me to write my book and do all this stuff to share the info, share the information. We've both been in this like 50 something years, man.
Wow.
And we're still trying to figure out what's going on. You know, it's just, you know, but you get into all that stuff because when I grew up, it was like with the Lloyd Auerbachs and, you know, and different people like that who kept saying, okay, well, 10 people could be in a room and all see a full apparition of a ghost go by. And it's massive hypnosis. That's what it is. I don't think, wait a minute. No, there's got to be more to it than that. And, you know, digging. In 50 years, I'm still here. Don't have a clue.
See, I love that because
Yeah.
I tell people all the time that like if like anybody who comes to me and starts talking to me like let me tell you what this is, I'm like get lost, bro. Like get lost. I'm not interested in what you know, because as soon as you know something, there's somebody else coming to me telling me what they know, and it's just like for me and what I do, and it seems like you're the same way, Cisco. Like I just approach this whole thing very humbly. I have my opinions, like I just like you do too. But like I'm not afraid to talk to people and let them share what they think and what they believe because I think we all learn that way. Because
Absolutely.
if we had it all figured out, none of us would be here. You know.
It wouldn't be a mystery anymore.
No.
And Steve and I call it the great paranormal onion. Every time you peel back a layer, it's another layer. It's another layer.
Yeah.
Another layer. And it's you know, and I also come from a Native American background that, you know, they always taught me, you know, as soon as you say you know, go back. Because you don't know shit. You know, the real
Yep.
wise one said, I've lived 100 years. I don't know anything. I have theories. I have expectations of something that might follow a pattern, whether it's paranormal or not. It's everything. You know, we all, and then you have a different, I think one of the things that taught me, and I'll shut up, but this is real important, is coming to me now, is if anybody ever saw the movie Vantage Point, everybody is looking at the same situation happening. It was, I believe, a car accident or something like that, and something happened after the accident. But as you talk to each witness and their vantage point, how they took what they saw and how they developed it in their head, it all came out so different. But every bit of it had a bit of truth to it, kind of like a big JFK, you know, assassination situation. That's the way I look at the paranormal, because there's a little bit of truth and a whole lot of bullshit, you know.
I swear, Cisco, I've been channeling you for years now.
Have you, baby?
I mean, yeah, because I tell you, I use this example all the time on my show. If you could have an atheist and a priest in the same room go through a paranormal experience, but they walk out of that room describing it completely different because they went into the room with completely different worldviews.
Totally.
And so it's all about vantage and perspectives.
It
I love
really
it.
is. Once you see that, you know, and once you get that, and then you go, we're all learning together. The best thing to do with a group that's going in is everybody come out. What did you see? How did it make you feel? I'm big on intuition. I'm big on gut. You know, don't override your gut. You know, that's there for a reason. You know, the animal doesn't go, it's not an eagle coming after me. I feel it. I'm getting the thing. But it doesn't talk itself out of it. It follows its intuition. I think we've covered a lot of that up, of our own natural instincts, you know. So I love the fact that you guys went here and had no expectations, no real, you know, knowledge. Did you, Chisholm, did you have any knowledge going in of what it was about? Did you look?
Well, to be honest with you, all the knowledge I had, what Tony kind of said in his pre-caps for the show.
Yeah.
You had to sign a waiver, and there was going to be ghosts there. That's about it.
And that's true, guys, for the chat who don't know. And I have a little video, but because Tony doesn't have a lot of time tonight, I'm going to hold back on it. It was just a little of the interior and a little on the history. But, you know, anything that was, I think it was 1815, something like that. I might be off a couple of years that it was built. You got history on every piece of ground you walk on. Ghosts are everywhere. These things are everywhere. And it's just zeroing in on what that house or that building or that area remembers and the echoes of it and what you can get and what you also bring with you. People forget that. They always forget that. You bring stuff with you, you know, in one case or another. Donny, you had a little bit of, you looked into it a little bit, because I remember a couple months back, I think you mentioned, you know, this is going to be, you know.
On the website, the history was just pretty straightforward. Like,
Yeah.
it was built in 1845, then this person bought this here, then this other person bought this there, and
And and it says.
oh,
the way they
Laura's
put it
like, let
to-
me in, damn it.
Oh, she
I
here.
was about to
didn't
say,
hear
I
you,
just saw that
sweetie.
chat there.
Yeah.
Come on in, Laura. Hi, honey.
Oh, you're muted, Laura.
You're muted. Turn your mic on, sweetheart.
Sorry.
There you go.
But I did not curse at you.
It's okay. Well, did you know anything about it? We're talking right now about, did you know anything about going in? Any expectations, anything like that?
The only thing I knew was that I had met a paranormal group down at the Hoover House, and I kind of became friends with them. And I knew that they went there, so I messaged the one guy that I'm friends with, and I asked him, like, you know, what's the deal with this place? And he kind of gave me like a quarter of the information. But when we got there, it was like,
Do you want me to
like
tell them? I'm
overload.
not sure that Tony and Chisholm are aware. Do you want me to tell them what happened? Is it too
Oh,
private? The part
we-
about
No, they're
were
fully
there.
aware.
They were there
Okay.
with us.
Let me
Yeah.
They
tell
were there
this
with
very
us.
quick, because this is the only input I have on this whole night. I get a lot of my stuff. I'm nothing. You know, I tell people we all have abilities. This is not. I'm not trying to say I'm this and I'm not. I'm a vessel, basically. We all get little things here and there, right? And we all know I usually get mine in the shower. So I'm trying to get ready for work, and I have no idea what's going on this weekend. None. You know, I forget. You know, I know you're going sometime. There's a thing. I had no idea it was just that weekend. I'm just trying to get to work. And I get this thing, Laura, you got to tell her. You got to tell her. Now, Laura has been kind of staying off social media for a while. I didn't have a way to immediately contact her, and this thing wouldn't leave me alone. I actually got out of the shower, threw on a towel, messaged Donny. I said, I don't know what's going on, but I think I'm getting that Laura has been infirm. She's been sick, and she's been dealing with a lot. And I just got loud and clear, she's gonna get jumped. She's too sick. She doesn't need to be there. She needs to put on a lot of protection. I'm getting this over and over. So I just text Donny and I said, you tell her, make sure you do protection, make sure you do all this other stuff. I forgot about it, went to work. And then I get a call. You want to tell him from there?
Well, Donny forgot to give me your message, so that was not helpful.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, big time.
I think he misunderstood because I was trying to be real fast, and I'm like, Laura, you guys need to go. Well, I tell you this all the time, guys. When I tell you, this is not games here. There's stuff. You go to a Walmart and pick up bad energy. Trust me. Hey, Sir Brian, I love you, baby.
Okay, real quick before we get into what happened with Laura, though, because I feel like we should go in like chronological order. Like when we arrived at the Shanley Hotel, the first thing you notice right away is they make you sign these waivers, right? And I've been to this is like my third place that I've been to, my third like haunted building experience, and this is the first time I got asked to sign a waiver. I don't know what you got, Tony. And Chisholm, what you guys think about all that? Like when
the waiver?
Yeah.
My first reaction to it was I thought because I walked in, you walk in, and where you're signing the waiver is like a gift shop / buy yourself some ghost water repellent stuff, and I was like, okay, it's gimmicky. Like they're trying to get people going, and feeling the vibes of, oh my gosh, and because I advertised that on the show because that's what they do, and like I didn't expect to feel that way when I walked in until I walked into like a gift shop. I was like, oh, so the waiver is just like a gimmick, and then like. I don't want to.
But it works, man. It puts you in that mindset, like, oh shit, I'm signing.
Yeah, maybe it's to psych people out,
Yeah.
Maybe and that's the whole thing. Right? Like, Laura, there's nothing wrong with Laura. She just got psyched out, big wimp.
Yeah.
Hey, excuse me. I'm sorry, I'm more sensitive than you are.
All you had to do is do your protection and just walk right through. You'd been fine.
Chisholm, this was your first like paranormal
first ever
kind of tour. So when you walked in and you're seeing all this stuff, what are you thinking?
Well, I kind of held that card back for a long time, but it got out before the investigation. I tell people I'm a skeptic, but that's not really how it goes. It's more skeptic, but I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
So I believe all that's there.
Yeah.
All that's there somewhere, and people are experiencing tidbits here and there. But that doesn't mean that absolutely everything that people experience and absolutely everything that people think is this or think is that is what it is. So, when they're having you sign a waiver, I was on the exact same page as Tony, like, all right, here's the marketing. But at the same time, it kind of got me hyped up. So I let it do its job, I guess. But for the most part, I like to poke holes in things because if it's soundproof, you're not going to poke holes in it. But if you can poke holes in it, then you're going to try and find ways to patch it up and learn more about it and, go from there, I guess. So that's just kind of my mindset walking into this. And to be honest with you, when I got back to work, one of my friends at work said that her dad or stepdad, one of the two, has a paranormal group that goes around to these places. And she's like, she gave me his number. So I may be going to some local ones here, actually.
Nice.
Nice.
And I was just going to say this, Glenn, it is like that. And it was very much, Alfred Hitchcock did the same thing. He had nurses in the lobby when, what's the one? What's the name of that? Oh, Psycho.
Hotel?
Yeah, Psycho opened up. Just, it's good. It works. It works. It's the same as advertisement or anything else, or P.T. Barnum. And the mermaid and all this other stuff.
They were selling like some serious gear at that gift shop. I remember they were selling like full on like K2 meters and spirit boxes, and I was like, whoa, this is getting kind of serious here. And they had like that anti-ghost spray.
Yeah, I'm really curious about what was actually in that though.
Are they not ghosts in
it was probably the lady's piss.
Yeah.
Probably.
They said the ghost in a jar or anything like that. That's always good.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Don't mind.
So
Oh yeah.
But
the
the
other
thing
thing
is this place really does have some history, guys. Just to give you a brief on it, they started early saying that the land was cursed. I haven't heard anything about Indian burial ground yet, but I don't know. And one of the families there lost like 3 children before the age of 1-year-old. A 5-year-old boy died. The barber that they got there, like in the 20s, when it started getting the bordello and everything started really going. Prohibition and bootlegging really kicked this place. You know, you could see probably from where it was and everything. And they got a barber, and his little girl toddled across the street at like 4 years old and fell in a well and died. And then you've got your people that died there of the flu and things like this. So it's just the same type of history that most places this age would have, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
You know.
And when I was looking at the website, the history didn't seem all that different from the Hoover House. It didn't seem so different, and even like the layout looked kind of similar, and the style, but yeah, it was not Hoover House.
And once you got there, they told you a lot deeper stuff in the history too. That
Stuff that they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't just straight up publicized, but it was definitely interesting stories.
I would say Tracy, she is part of the history of the house now. The way she operates within it, she is building upon the history of that house, and depending on your vantage point and perspective, like Cisco was talking about, you can either say it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'll tell you, I felt very uncomfortable most of the time I was there, and not in the same sense as Laura, but in reality. And I have nothing against Tracy. I thought she was a really nice lady, but the actions that were taken, I was just like, this makes me feel uncomfortable, just because of my own personal convictions and stuff, you know. And I think I need to get better at that as a host of a trip, in the sense that, for me on a personal level, get better, because I find myself at times just kind of going with the flow of the crowd, because everybody's there to do their ghost hunt thing, and not everybody thinks the way I think. So like, I'm just kind of like, okay, I don't want to ruin it for anybody else. So I'm just going to kind of go with the flow on things. But leaving there, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it consistently, because in those moments and stuff, it's harder to do. But leaving there, I really did feel like I'm going to try my hardest next time to maybe, if at the very least, back away from certain situations and just say, you guys can do your thing. I'm just going to be over here chilling, because like, I don't,
Tony, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I mean, I feel the same about like the Vasilla Axe murder house, or, I mean, there's certain places, like I will not go into the orphanage at Gettysburg because of the exploitation of the kids. You see what I'm saying? I look at things at a whole different level, but I also see businesses trying to pull everything they can. And we got to be honest, man, people want the Zach Bagans. They want every time the board creaks. Did that say demon? It's just the way it is now. I've seen it, like I said, 50 years. I'm going back from, like Twilight Zone and the sightings and stuff like that really tried to dig into the history and the story, and maybe if it is a human being stuck in some way, if that's a possible thing, that there's an essence of the human being left that needs help. I look at it like Hans did, and he said that. And not that he was perfect, but he had a great attitude toward it. He said, I've never been afraid of a ghost. There are only people in need of help. And that was my approach from the beginning. That was me walking through.
And that was kind of how we were feeling too in the beginning.
Yeah,
right?
I saw it change over the years, decade by decade.
Because
maybe it'll swing back.
I guess for me, Burnbrae and Hoover House, they were like just ghosts. So it was okay. But then once I got here, or once we got there, and after we had to sign our waivers, they showed us to our rooms. I remember, Tony, you and I and Laura, we were in the gentleman's room, like looking around, and then we're talking to the lady, and then she drops the, oh yeah, by the way, there are demons in this house. And I'm just like, what? Yo, we're dealing with like demonic stuff here?
I'm sorry if we're going out of order, Donny.
No, it's all good.
It's all freeform, man. Say it, what's on your heart.
perfect, because that's where I thrive. So when she was there in that room and she started talking about that stuff, I kind of like zoned out. And not because of what she was saying, but I don't want this to come across mean and or accusational or judgmental. And if Tracy were to ever see this and stuff, I that's why I'm saying this. But from my personal perspective, again, perspectives, the way she was talking, I got an immediate sense that I was dealing with somebody that was possessed. And the way she carried herself on certain things throughout the night, and the way she talked on certain things throughout the night, and that's what I meant earlier by Tracy's ingraining herself as part of the history of the house, because I think I could be wrong, and if she, like, very well could be wrong, but I just get the sense that she has pretty much like a pet demon that she keeps locked in a box, and the way she talks to the entities there, she talks to them like they're pets.
Yep.
And like they're friends. And for me, I don't feel comfortable with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I when we were in the gentleman's quarters and she was talking and everything, I know Laura, she was feeling a certain way at that point.
That's
visually I could see that. Yeah. I was feeling like almost like, hey, I gotta pay attention to this lady here, because there's something. Just for me, it was a little off. The other lady I even forget her name.
Kelly,
the other lady.
Kelly. Yeah, she was cool. Well,
Kelly.
Tracy was cool too. Tracy was great.
100%.
It was like someone leading the investigation, and as a host, and someone who genuinely loves the place and does invest. And she knew her history real well. I respected her for her history knowledge. Like, she was great. Like, yeah, I don't want to. Tracy, if you're listening, you're a pleasure to be with.
Well, this is the thing, though, and I don't know anything about any of this. I'm just saying that when you do that, this is my wheelhouse. When you do that, you're kind of creating a road. You're making a trail, like, a well-worn path through the woods. You make it easier for them to come in. And most of the time, this is low-level crap. You can't keep a demon in a box. You just can't.
Well, she was telling us the story about
the raid chasers were trying to catch one in a jar, and I mean,
she told us the story about how they actually brought in a demonologist, and the demonologist bound that demon in the box.
Right.
And then
but
it was a Walmart box too.
It would have to be, honey. It would have to be bound. There would have to be a lot of stuff. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
From my experience, there would have to be so much. So what it's saying to me is, somebody much wiser than I'll ever be once told me, there's no ethereal beings wandering around Earth waiting for some teenagers to open up a board game and start playing Ouija so they can contact them. It's all low-level stuff. It's either earthbound, human spirits. Not all of them are good. How many different people do you know? You know a lot of different people. Some are just inherently bad. Some are criminals. Some are, that you bump into. Go into a Walmart. But every single person's going to be individual. That's the way ghosts are. Now, if this is something ancient, if it's something that's hooked to the land or something like that, I can't imagine, having something like that kept in a box, unless, and I could be wrong, I often am, that it's bound and there's major but usually you have to bury that thing, you have to put it underwater. I mean, it depends on what she's dealing with.
She was going to open the box, let it out to play, and then somehow put it back all at once too.
She said she was going to open the box. I thought she just kept the box closed and she hooked up like a spirit box so it could talk. She said she was going to open the box.
Yeah, she said if you say your name or tell us you want out, we'll let you out to play for a little while.
And so and when she said that, so there's two ways of looking at it. One, you're going to let a demon out of the box, right? Let's just say you have control over it, right? And you're going to let a demon out of a box. Like, you would think that you would maybe talk to the people in the room and say, "Are you all okay with this?"
Yeah.
Second of all, say you weren't serious, and there's a demon in the box. You got locked in the box, and you say, "We'll let you out if you do this," and it does it, and you don't let it out. Now you're taunting a demon. So I was very confused by that whole process too. Mentally, I was like, "Well, what's the end game here?" You know, and so I was really, like, I don't want to ruin Laura's story, but I was thinking to myself, Laura might have been on to something here.
Yeah. So just to continue with just to leave where Tony left off, when you were feeling that when she was talking about the demon in the box, and we were in the room together, right? And I was thinking the same way as Tony. I was like, yo, this lady must talk to demons to say I talk to my Pokemons, right? And then I look over at Laura.
Wait, stop. Pull the podcast over. Donnie, you talk to your Pokemons, honey?
Yeah, when you play Pokemon,
We'll talk after
that's
the
the whole
show. Go
experience
ahead.
of
Let's
playing
continue.
Pokemon.
But there's
Anyway.
more to my
Do they
stuff than
speak
just.
back?
But
Go, Laura.
Yeah.
Tell your piece, baby, because I know she's in a lot of pain, guys, and she doesn't want to sit too long.
Like, I can't even like sit still. I'm like just popping naproxen all day long. But anyways, just like it's a leave, but it's just like I get it from the pharmacy.
Okay.
It's like higher strength
I just hope it's helping you, because I don't like seeing you in pain. But you didn't even get the message. This is what blows my mind. She didn't get the message, so she wasn't prompted to be thinking ahead of time to work herself up. That's what I'm saying.
So the whole week before we even went, I'm like, trying to fall asleep, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and I was anxious as hell about this trip. And I went on one last year, and I wasn't nervous about going. I went to the Hoover House. I wasn't nervous about going, nothing. But there's just something during the week that just kept telling me, like, you should not stay here. You cannot sleep here. So I'm like, all right. So I ignore it. I'm like, no, like, I'm going to go. This will be fun. We're going to Sleepy Hollow, this, and that. So and I had only known a quarter of the history. Like I said, I only knew from my one friend, Rich, that had been there. And I didn't know all this crap. So I walk in the door and I'm like, just like, holy shit. And then we're like standing there. I'm getting more anxious. We're supposed to be signing these waivers, which, by the way, my friend did say that that's like a thing that they do now in all these haunted places. So, if you like get scared and you run and scream and trip over something, you can't sue them or whatever. But she's like, oh yeah, let's sign this waiver. That's just in case you get scratched or anything or bit or whatever she said. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, I just have this bad feeling. I'm like, I can't stay here. So then I go upstairs. She's taking Donny to her room, and I follow because I'm like, I think my room is upstairs there also, which is in the old part of the house with the original family that lived there. And so we're walking up the steps, you have to go through the kitchen, twist and turn, go up these steps. And I'm getting like super anxious going up these steps. I'm like, what the hell? We go upstairs, and it's like, you hear people talk about places being darker than they should be. But this is the first time I've ever seen it in person where it's like, it was dark in there. It was like thick and heavy. And I go in my room and I'm like, oh my God, like, I can't sleep in here. I cannot be up here. Like, I need to go. I'm like, is there another room I can be in? She's like, no, it's just she's like, I think it was Tracy's, the dark-haired one.
Huh?
She's like, yeah, it's just my room but I have all these haunted objects in there. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm freaking out. So then we go downstairs, we go in the room with Tony and Jack. And then she's sitting there telling, like, I think Donny and I were like sitting down for a while first.
Yeah, we were sitting on those two like love seats.
Or did we talk to her first? I don't know.
But she was standing. Tony was sitting up on the bed, and we were in the love seats, and she was in the middle talking to us. Because I remember distinctly, that's when I looked over on you, and I realized something was wrong.
I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, I'm like anxious, and I'm like, this place is heavy. I'm like, this is just like not good, and I'm starting to get like really worked up, and I'm like, I'm feeling like I'm gonna cry, and I'm trying to brush it off because I don't want to look like an idiot. And then she's like, then I'm talking to Tracy, and she looks at me, she's like, are you okay? And I'm just like, And she's like, are you sensitive? And I shook my head. She's like, are you an empath? And I shook my head. And then she's like, yeah, me too. She's like, I'm a dark empath. And I'm like, what's that? Because I never heard of that before.
Yeah, I was like, what?
And she's like, she goes, oh yeah, it's someone who communicates with non-human entities. And I'm just like, okay, like, I don't even know what to say right now. And then she's telling us about how there's a portal in that room. I think she said there was like 4 portals in the whole place, that they have ghost kids, there's other ghosts, there's ghost cat, there's a wolf that comes in, which was some kind of Native American entity that they don't know what it is for sure. And so whatever, I don't know if she walks out of the room, whatever, but I know I went and sat back down, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I look over at Donny, I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm gonna cry. Like, I'm not good right now. So he's like, do you want to go outside? And I'm like, yeah. So I follow him out, and I'm still like, I'm like pushing the door open to go outside, and I just burst into tears. I'm just crying. I'm like, it's so heavy in my chest and everything. And I'm like, I can't be in there. I need to get out of here. So I walk off the porch, and I'm like, can we walk across the street, like down the sidewalk? So we walk down there, and we go across the street, and we're off the property, and I sit on the grass, and I'm like, I immediately felt better as soon as I was outside. And the farther I got from that place, the better I felt. And then I'm still really like panicked and like freaked out. So we call Cisco, and then I'm talking to Cisco, and she's like helping me calm down and everything. And then I got my shit together, and I felt better. But I would not, that time being, like, I booked an Airbnb and everything, and I was like, sent Donny back in for my stuff, and like he brought me out a slice of pizza and a soda, and I stood there, and then like him and Tony took me to an Airbnb because I was like, I can't be here. I cannot be here. And so in the meantime, I'm waiting for like, you know, everybody to get done eating and stuff before we go, and I'm booking my place. And the 2 women come out, and they're like, they said, like, you're very gifted. Like, I wish you could stay. I want to see what you'd be able to pick up. And I'm like, no, like, there's no way I'm going to stay here. No. And then she's like, what the heck did she say to me? Oh my gosh, I forgot what I was just going to say. They told me that other women, like other people, have been sitting in there, and they just completely burst into tears, started crying out of nowhere. And I'm like, I felt so much better, because I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one that has had this effect on me. And I was like, I don't want these people to think that I'm like scared of ghosts and I don't want to be here. Like, it wasn't that. It was like, whatever is in that house is bad.
You
real
were
bad.
Overwhelmed, and I believe that there's this is just a guess, and it's just a thought.
Oh, I know. I was already worried about that too.
No, there was a woman there, the one who lost the 3 children. She was very sad, and she's called the Weeping Woman. And it's very possible that certain people that she can get, you know, it's just possible. And you get her feelings, you know, because the empath thing, and you're a certain different kind of empath. And I think that that's probably it, because it sounds from other people that it's extremely overwhelming, this grief and the crying, and you know, it's possible. It's something to think about.
You want to know the room?
She's not bad, supposedly. What's the room?
The room that I was supposed to stay in was Anna's room, and apparently she was a like lady of the night back in the day. She got pregnant with an African American, so they killed him, hung him, and I think they killed her and they killed the baby. So she's still there. So I freaked out when I walked in her room. I'm like, I can't be here. Like, I need to go. And so I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And I found that out after the fact that I was in there.
And yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, adding to what she just said, when we were in the basement that night, Tracy mentioned that behind you and Jack, where you guys were sitting, was that like mound of, I think it was rocks or something.
It was a mound of rocks.
And she suggested, she didn't affirm, but she suggested, without completely 100% saying, that spot's haunted with dead babies, where that's where they buried babies that were unwanted, that came from, you know, that's what she said, right, Donny?
Yeah, from the prostitutes who worked there. You know,
yeah.
Whenever they gave, I guess that's where they disposed of the babies, and then Jack and I are sitting there and we're looking at each other, we're like, Jesus Christ, and we all inch our chair away from that corner. We're like, how much bad karma can be concentrated in one place?
Oh, this place is horrendous.
At that point, that's what I was thinking. I was like, how much bad crap can one place have?
But there's a lot of people in this that are going to be drawn to that. They want the, how
They
would
want
you
the
put
morbidity,
it, Tony?
I
They
guess.
want the bombastic. It's why I said, like, that pendulum is swinging. Now it's way up here. It's like the most evil, the most horrible, the most, and the worse it is, the better. And that's what's selling. We've seen it change in the paranormal shows. I mean, that's a great, meter for this, because it went, I can remember when I was a kid, the Leonard Nimoy in his turtleneck and his great stash was out there just, calmly telling the story, and we are not really sure, but, what if? And it kept a lot of that wonderful, that magical kind of, oh man, what if kind of thing. And now it's just, we're going to eat your soul. It's gone. So I'm waiting for that. I hope I live to see the pendulum swing back to the kinder, because not everything in the paranormal is, black and white or good and evil. I mean, it's just, there's a mixture, just like there's a mixture of us, and you can get, I just get nervous when I hear people doing this, because I get the phone calls, well, all right, what's going on? Well, she's half dead. She's been to the hospital 3 times. My pets are dying, and we're not sure what's going on. You have to go back with them, and I have to get people that are much more professional than I am. I have like a paranormal chain. I'm like, okay, what state are you in? Let me see if I get somebody close by, because then they run through the normal, responsible things, Is there any stuff going on in the house? It has to do with every bit of energy that's in there. The family that's in there. Is there mental health issues? Is there drug use? Is there abuse? Is there this, that? You all know the stories. And you have to go through that, because everybody has an effect on energy. You're putting, could be just you. It could be your own PK abilities you don't even know you have. You're the one slinging the stuff around the house. And all that has to be woven through in a responsible way. And there are different things, and that's why I wanted to do this show tonight, because here's the Hoover House, which seems to be a beacon of light and draws all this stuff to it, even though they have things that show up there that aren't in the best energy. But there's so much of the good there, and so much of the people that come there, they understand, we don't provoke, we don't do this, we're sitting here, we're here to learn, and it's a whole different atmosphere. And I'm sure this can be too, but you guys really didn't know what you were walking up into and got that fresh.
Oh, you mentioned pendulum, which reminded me, first I want to say hello to Shannon, who is in the chat. I met her last year on the trip, and she couldn't come with us this year, but hopefully next time she can come. Yeah.
Shannon, congratulations! You had a baby since the last time I saw you, I believe, right?
Oh, congratulations, honey! Oh, that's wonderful.
Laura, I'm not. I'm right? You said that she had a baby, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Congratulations, sweetie. If you didn't, we're sorry.
No, she did. That's why
That's
she
wonderful.
couldn't come along. So
right. But you definitely felt the difference, Laura, walking into one place as far as walking to another. Because if I remember correctly, the first time you went to Hoover House, I was talking you through the whole thing, like go, and I said
I was just in a bad mood. That's why I didn't want to go.
It was opposite. You were in a horrible bad mood,
yes.
And there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of things beforehand. And I said, but go, because you're going to leave much better, and you did.
I
Whereas
did.
This one, it went the other way.
Oh, yeah.
See, that can happen, though. It can absolutely happen. Yes.
How did you guys feel during the investigation itself? Like remember when we were like up into Bordello and we were like messing around with those spirit boxes? Did any of your feelings change, or?
Well, so for me, that's one of the situations that I see. Listen, I'm in a weird position where it's like I could say to myself, well, what did you expect? You know what I mean? Because like you know what typical ghost hunters are going to do and things like that. I guess I have wishful thinking. My ideal paranormal investigation, the way I would like to conduct it, would be to go to a place that they say is haunted and just exist in it and see what happens. I personally don't think I need to be calling upon spirits to come talk to me if they're really there. Like people my show, I'm almost at 500 episodes, and most of those episodes are people who didn't invite the activity, at least consciously invite the activity. It just happened to them. And so,
Right time.
so I'm like, why not just exist in these locations? Know it's haunted, have a good time, relax, and just see what happens. Be aware of your surroundings. Because for me personally, my own personal convictions, I don't really feel comfortable doing spirit boxes. And so I was already off on that. And then, you know, like, for instance, I guess they had it going before you and I got back, Donny, and it had said the podcaster at one point, and they're like, is there a podcaster here? And they're like, Tony's coming back. And then it called me out by name up there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tell us about what happened there, like in Amy's room, because they were calling you out, like personally.
Yeah. So we were up in that like little lobby area outside the rooms, and that little box was going, and me and Jack were sitting there. My brother Jack was with us, and he was filming. We invested in a night vision, like a really good night vision camera that shows good detail, and he's filming, and I'm sitting there, and it's doing its little spin thing, and I heard Tony, and I forget what she had asked, but I heard Tony, and then I look over at Jack, and I just kind of give him a smirk because we're in complete dark. And I know he can see me because he has the night vision. And so I look over and I just smirk at him, and then he just looks at me and he just shakes his head. And I'm like, you heard that? And he's like, yeah, I heard that. And I don't think anybody else heard it. And they're like, what? And I'm like, it said my name. And so then she's like, oh, well, then you should go sit in Anna's room. And I'm just like, okay.
You were just like, okay.
Wait, what happened when you went in there then?
Nothing, I don't think. I mean, Donny, did anything happen?
Yeah, that music box went off by itself.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah.
I'm skeptical about that though, because right at that time,
you said that.
well, sorry, here I am poking holes,
No,
but
no,
But it makes
your
sense
mind.
what you said. So say
Speak your
yeah.
mind.
well, so the music box I think was on a motion sensor. Am I right?
Oh, is that
Yes.
what it was?
Yes, it
Oh.
was.
Yeah, that's how
The
those
music
work,
box goes off as on a motion sensor,
Well, that's
and
the
right at
reason to
that
be
time,
skeptical.
actually, Tracy was coming up the stairs, and the creaking and everything. I don't know if it shook some dust loose or whatnot.
I
but-
might have moved. Though too, because like I'm sitting there.
You were sitting on the bed, and it was pointed at the bed. So any minor movement's gonna, So I don't know. I'm not too.
Oh, I didn't
keen
know
on
there
that
was a
one.
motion
Fucky about
sensor in the
equipment.
music box. I mean, of course, that's so creepy. Why would you do that?
I'm right
Because
there
it's a
with you.
paranormal tool.
Yeah.
That's
And I
why.
can't-
But why a
I
music
can't
box?
say-
Why don't you have a fake skeleton drop
Yeah.
down from the ceiling? You know?
That's
Well-
worse.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. It's not them. I hate to bring up a show like Ghost Hunters, but I can remember way back in the day they were going through a place that was set up like it was a motel, diner, whatever. I can't remember. I think it was where the blue lady walked the beach. I can't remember what story. But they went in there, and I think they did the episode. And again, say what you want about them. And anytime you have producers and stuff, you don't know what's on the other side of the wall. You just don't. It's TV, guys. So anyhow, they're going through, and it was a good episode because they said that they were doing it to debunk the debunkers. And I'm not, so basically what it was is you went in the bathroom, and they had something behind the mirror that would come back and be like a face to fake you out. They were playing on it. The lights had a thing in it to where they went off and on and swung. There was actually a mechanism up in the attic that moved the, and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking, my God, what decade are we in? That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of like on a timeline here where I'm like, okay, before I die, we're going to say, okay, we're back to intuitions and feeling, and like Tony said, not having to use a lot of stuff. It just happens, or they come to you to tell whatever, or you see something, you're not conjuring it up with equipment. I don't understand equipment, which is why I don't like it. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but if I can't in my mind say why that thing is doing that, or what's the one that, not the obelisk, but the one that makes the white noise? I can't stand it. First of all, it's just irritating. But the little...
Yeah, that's what it was.
together a
Yeah,
word.
yeah.
Okay.
They had that on the speaker the whole night.
Right.
It was weird.
I've had
No,
people on the
my-
show that explain this equipment to me. And, like Dave Haney is a terrific tech guy from Keystone
Keystone.
State. paranormal, right? And they have such great heart, and they're very they don't jump to conclusions, and all this. So I'm listening to them explain, but again, I can't see. I can see a flashlight. Now, a lot of people have debunked this, but if it's my flashlight and I put it on the ground and I know there's no mechanics underneath and nobody's moving it, and it goes on and off in command multiple times, then I can kind of understand that a little bit. But I use dowsing rods, and the only reason I use dowsing rods is because they're old school, and it's just to affirm what I'm already feeling, to sort my own thoughts. That's the only reason I do it, if that makes any sense. But I can also kind of understand them a little bit, But the equipment gets me, because you can say, like Chisholm just said, well, it went off for this, or it might have gone for that, or is there something pre-programmed in it, or
Well,
I don't know.
He go ahead, finish, say what happened, why you figured out it doesn't work right.
Oh, that was actually a different motion sensor.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when we were down in the demon box room or whatever, they had a motion sensor, an actual triangle thing that pulsed blue, and it was two-sided. So one side, if you walked by it within a certain proximity, it turned green and beeped. The other side, if you walked by it in proximity, it turned red and beeped. Well, they had it on a sawhorse in the middle of a room, and so it was clear on both sides. And they were, we were doing whatever with the spirit box for a while, and then it would keep every now and then go off on the green, just go off on the green. And after a while, it would only ever go off on the green. And after a while, I was just kind of like, so I just have a quick question. Can you turn it around, give it a 180 and see if it'll keep going off on now the red side, or if it'll just go off on the green side? And so we were also in a construction room. So I feel like there was probably a lot more prone to dust. And I know I keep saying dust, but when it comes to motion sensors, if you've got dust coming down from the rafters, right, where you've got literally sawhorses underneath and rafters that are, that have been construction or in current construction, and it just kept going on the same side, and they turned it down and it quit going off altogether. So the proximity they made just a little bit less, and it quit going off altogether. So it was literally just this one spot the whole time. And they were saying, oh, it's probably just a ghost pacing back and forth right there, but never moving. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that was just me poking holes too, I guess.
No, but that's good. That's good that you did that and stuff. And that's why I like having the skeptical people, because I mean, you guys, you're just like, let's think about this rationally. I'm like, no, let's not think about rationally. Let's think about it most fantastical way possible.
Right,
right. But
I mean, I like to go both ways with it. So it's as fantastical as possible and as rational as possible. And then you kind of look at it and you're like, okay, so which one's more plausible for one? And then you turn around and you say, okay, well, here's another situation where there's a possible explanation, but it's a stretch, and the fantastical explanation is more less of a stretch in that case. And you're just like, okay, I want to poke holes in it and see just the most likely scenario. And, some of those is like, not really buying it. And some of those I was like, well, that was odd.
So,
and like I said, I'm not a skeptic. I'm skeptical.
Sure.
That's fine. And it should be. Yeah. Everybody should be.
Yeah.
Does anybody, real quick, before you guys get started, I want to make sure, Blue, I don't have an answer to this. Does anybody, the question is, has anyone ever looked into these spirit box apps and how they are programmed? Because I can see how it could be programmed to also listen and reproduce certain phrases or names it hears. I don't know the answer to that, honey. Anybody?
I mean, I don't know specifically, but I feel like anytime you're using an app for this kind of stuff, you really are subject to the programmer's will. So I don't know. That's just how I view it. Maybe I'm starting to sound like Chisholm. I don't know.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, because here's my input on that. If we don't do this, Chisholm, if we don't do what you did, we're not getting anywhere. If we just accept everything we see, if we just accept everybody, now I accept people who say they've had an experience, and I listen to every word they have, because in there may be a thread of something. I was like I said, I was trained early on the JFK thing, so I'm like, and there's a little thread of something in there, but how much of that is input? How much of that is, filling in the blanks, just innocently. So we're not going to get anywhere if we're not honest about this stuff. We've had a huge burst of equipment and stuff like that. And again, I'm not against equipment. I'm not against places that do this. Whatever it may be that is going on. My big thing is the difference between the feeling of all that light and investigations and kindness and love and caring and how different the experience can be. Tony, we have a place for you, sweetie. It's called the Hoover House in Waynesboro, Georgia.
I told him about it.
Oh my gosh.
We're talking
and
about
you
that
could
too.
get what you were looking for because you walk in there, you sit at the bar, you meet the beautiful Barrys and Joe, Jim and Dave who own it, and the people there, they do table tipping, which is fun, and you kind of wonder what's going on here, and it's just
And all
it's
the ghosts
just
are
a neat
nice and
experience,
cool.
and there's no I mean, I got choked there, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but it wasn't this kind of
Yeah.
choking.
It was from
It
the
was
inside, so it was
very
less
much
rude.
like I believe Laura went through. It was a female spirit who was trying to show me
Yeah.
something and how she died. And this is because we were talking about trust. And what I heard in my ear was, I'll show you what happened to me last time I trusted. And I'm just feeling what she's feeling, and I'm getting choked from the inside. And it was like, and everybody, all these big dudes are jumping up, and I'm like, I'm okay, let her finish. I'm okay. Because she was showing me, and, it's amazing. So many people after that, I never told the whole story, and I told it to one person who I genuinely trust, and they've been paying attention, and since the last time I told you, 9 other women that went in there had the same type of experience, but they didn't write it out, so they didn't learn what she was saying. I'm like, you're misunderstanding. She's telling me that she's here to help cross the guy who did this to her, and it's come out from other people. So to me, that's an expansion of thought about how we deal with these things, because to me also, what if you have a PK ability? What if you have an ability to, I don't know, impress your thoughts on a piece of equipment? What if it's just reading what you're putting in there? Or, Zariah Askath's been on here and said, what if you're the EVP and you're putting, all these are great questions. So like Tony said in the beginning, we don't have solid answers. We've got all these little pieces to the puzzle. We're not even sure the pieces that we have. We certainly don't have the cover to the box. But when you walk in here and you're getting this atmosphere coming at you, don't you think as a group that kind of mixes your energy in with that energy, and it's just on full tilt boogie? And you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, once you tell somebody their house is haunted, or you're in a house, every creak, every rattle, every bang, every boom is a ghost. And we know it's not. So I think the impression of thought is extremely important on this, something like this too. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. And I think there is a serious thing about impression of thought, that maybe you can actually even draw that. Like we say here, and so many gatekeepers in this chat have said, you get what you put out. That whole, if you put out positive, you get back positive. If you're negative all the time, you're going to get negative. And that's in your daily life as well, So I'm wondering if that doesn't have a huge impact on that, It's going to draw those kind of spirits, is my thought too. And maybe manifesting some of your own that you don't even know you had. Because like I said, like Tony said, they're around all the time. If they are here, they're around all the time. Why wouldn't they be? Everywhere. Every piece of land you step on has a history. I love that when people say, this house has such a history. Well, kind of the whole earth does. But, and they tend to forget the things that happened before, right?
Yeah.
But it's the stories, and then you've got the story, and again, I'm a big believer in tulpas, like the Philip experiment, and I mean, do you know the story, Tony, about the shadow nose? I don't know
No, I
if
don't
you
think
know
so.
that. Oh, this is a trip. I know you got to leave soon, but take this one with you, man, because this will really get in your head, and you kind of go, whoa, this is wild. So the man who wrote The Shadow, it was an old radio show, if guys aren't familiar, and Steve tells this story much better than I promise you. So anyway, he wrote so much, and he was so, prophetic on his writing and everything, and the character development of, him, it almost became part of him. To the point, now this character had a laugh and a tagline, the shadow knows, and he had a certain laugh that they did. And he had a specific way he dressed, like I think it was a green overcoat and a red ascot or something, something stuck out like that. He starts seeing this thing around his house like it's a ghost, like it's a full body apparition. He's blowing it off and thinks he goes crazy, has a dinner party, and the people at the dinner party are seeing the guy. This is a made up character, very much like I think a Slender Man could be. And he created a tulpa.
Oh, I'll be right back. I'm stepping out for some.
So if that's true, if we just check that as going possible, and so many other things like the Philip experiment, possible, a lot of people there, clinical environment, how you can't tell me that in a house like that or any house where you're constantly bringing up that you're not creating an entity or something similar to that. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's possible? Whole house full of tulpas.
I absolutely love the idea of a tulpa just because of what it is. But I'm always curious when someone says that, or gets together and they think of it being a tulpa, just because that guy that wrote the book, what if he didn't realize it until after he was writing the book, but he was already seeing that apparition and that was his subconscious inspiration for it.
Love it.
And then it just cycled in through and became more real.
Absolutely.
So I love tulpas because I feel like it could go both ways with that.
It can, sweetheart. That's exactly what I say on this show all the time. It can. Like Steve and I always talk about, like Slenderman creation. Well, this guy created it out of thin air. How do you know something wasn't standing behind you, putting the thoughts in your head? So you created it. So like I said, it could go both ways. We don't, like we said in the beginning of this show, we're not only touching in this paranormal millennium, we're scratching the surface, and we're only going to see what, for lack of a better way of putting it, what we're allowed to see. It's like we don't want to see the last page of the great mystery book. It's cheating, How much can our consciousness, everybody's consciousness is different, everybody's level is different, what you understand, what your past is, what you've filtered through your lifetime. Like we said, vantage point. 10 people can see the same thing and all have a different idea of what it is. So, to say, like you said, Tony, to come in and say, hi, I'm an expert, I've been in this 50 years. Bullshit. I don't know anything. I just have ideas and theories that fluctuate. It's like a living, breathing, knowledge in this that, okay, I thought I had that one. Nope. Because here comes that one fact that changes everything.
That's how I've been podcasting for 5 years. And when I came into podcasting, I had a sense of certain things. 5 years later, I think of things totally different. I fully expect. What'd you say?
Cisco said the exact same thing you just said to me just earlier today. Wow.
Yeah. I think I think it's time we met, Tony. How you doing, babe?
Hey.
We can have some talks. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I think as long as I'm staying true to the method that I've been doing the last 5 years, then I should 5 years from now have different perspectives than I do now. And I use the same example with aging that I tell people, and this is more the when I'm more in mentor mode than paranormal. I often tell people, I'm 37 right now. When I was 27, I was a completely different person than I am now. And when I was 17, I was even more of a different person. So what makes me think that when I'm 47, I'm going to be the same guy I am today? I'm not going to be. My wife doesn't expect me to be. And if you're going to change, then you might as well control the change in your life and try to change into what you want to be and not just be on default. And so that's how I view this stuff mentally for myself as well. It's like, listen, I know I'm going to change my perspectives. So why not just be more aware of how my perspectives are changing and understand them in the process instead of just letting it happen and just see what happens, And so that's just kind of how I view stuff. And Well, I forget what I was going to say. So,
Well, one of the things.
I know what I was going to say. I know what I was going to say. I was going to say this. This is kind of a little off topic, but I'm trying to scroll up here in the chat here. I saw this in the chat. All right. Blue Crossroads said, okay, while Donny's gone, everyone should hide. Obviously, we didn't do it this time, but seriously, that would be brilliant if you guys were to do that sometime. When he forgets about it and stuff, he just shows up and everybody sees his face like, what happened? You know?
Oh, by the way, did Chisholm drop out?
It must be it's that Kansas internet, man.
Oh.
See if he pops back in. Let me see if he's down here.
Yeah, I'll send him a quick text
StreamYard's
message.
rough, man. People could be under here and I won't even know it unless I hear the pop. You know. But
So
I'll listen for it. I mean, this has been all around, Tony. How was the experience for you? Was there anything that happened there that made you take pause and go, wow, that was something?
Yeah.
Was there anything there for you?
So, yeah, kind of for me. So we talked about Anna's room and all that stuff, and honestly, like, I was up there, didn't really feel anything. The box went off, but I was just in my gut. I was like, I don't know. So we went down in the basement, and we saw some things happening down there. I'm just going to kind of go over this quickly to get to the point where I want to get to.
Sure.
But there were things in the basement going on. From my perspective, Donny, I don't know if you could see where I was sitting, but I was sitting right next to the K2 meters, the flashlights,
I saw you
and all that. Yeah, and so, like, I mean, one thing's for sure, there's things in that house. She was talking to them like they're her pets, and they were listening like they were her pets in the moment, and she'd tell them to go over and make these things light up, and they were lighting up, and the flashlights were going on and off, and so there was definitely interaction going on. For me, when we went up to the third floor, which is supposed to be like the spot, I felt heaviness. I felt heaviness. Mm-hmm. Nothing that was going to knock me on my feet or off my feet. I did stay in some portal rooms by myself a little bit just to kind of see how it was. Really, the only reason why I left is I started getting hot. Now, what kind of took me back was what happened to my brother. And since he's not here, Donny, I'll tell that story if it's okay with you.
Please do.
Okay. So now that Chisholm's here, we'll stop talking about him. We'll go back to the haunted hotel.
Stop. Yeah. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah. But so we're upstairs, and so for people who are viewing this that don't know anything about me or my family, my brother, he's been on the show on and off throughout its history. He kind of just pops in, and he's skeptical about a lot of stuff. When it comes to this kind of stuff, he's not skeptical, but he's skeptical. Like he's not skeptical in the sense that he doesn't believe it happens, but I think that he thinks that it doesn't happen as often as people think it happens. Yeah. And when it comes to cryptids and stuff, he's very skeptical. Like, I'm out there, I'm like, yo, let's go find Bigfoot. He's like, there ain't no such thing as Bigfoot, bro. I'm like, I'm your older brother. Listen to me, you know? So,
I have the same relationship with my sister. She thinks I'm nuts.
Yeah, so we're up there, and I go in this one room, and next to that room is another room, and I think that is also a portal room. And I think there's like 2 portal rooms up there. And Jack goes into that room, and I'm filming with the night vision. And there's things that happen during these kind of situations where it's almost like it was predestined, and it annoys you, because this is the second time now that between me and my brother doing something together like this, the person that experienced something didn't have the camera or had an operable camera. So before I finish this story, Jack and I last year went out to a prisoner of war camp in the middle of the Michaud State Forest in Pennsylvania. And the Michaud State Forest, lots of Bigfoot encounters, dogman, haunted forest. And then you have this prisoner of war camp where we had a lot of prisoner of war camps throughout the country during World War II, but not all of them interrogated prisoners. This one was an interrogation camp. So they literally would bring Nazis to this location to interrogate them. And from what I understand from the history that I read, it's not that we mistreated, which we very well could have, and I'm just reading our side of the history. But from what I understand, we didn't mistreat our prisoners, but if the Nazis that were interrogating went back to the barracks and the other Nazis felt like that Nazi was too forthcoming with information, they would kill him. And so there was Nazis that were killing Nazis in these camps. And so Jack and I go up there and we're doing this investigation in a hotspot for cryptids, paranormal. And that's the whole point. Like I wanted to go to a place that even if we didn't get anything cryptid popping in and out, like I was going to a place that had history and you can make a good educational type video. Well, long story short, I wasn't expecting this. I had paranormal in the brain. I had just got my K2 meter out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. It started to pop off, and all of a sudden, off in the distance. Now we both had cameras. He had the night vision camera. I had a Sony camera. I turned mine off for the K2, and when I turned my camera off, within seconds, we hear a Bigfoot howl, and it sounded like something like another one answered it right away. And so like my eyes pop out of my head. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. We got that on camera, bro. Like you got your camera running. Oh my gosh. We get back. Before we went out, Jack had dropped the camera on the ground and broke the microphone. And so I was like I was so depressed about it. I was like, I've been looking for Bigfoot in my life. Never in my entire life have I ever heard a Bigfoot, seen a Bigfoot, nothing. And I finally hear it. I have a camera running and the microphone's broken, right? So that's my history with Jack going into this, where now I'm holding the only camera. So I'm holding the night vision camera. I'm in a room by myself. Jack goes in the room next door, and all of a sudden I hear is, ah! And I'm like, I spin around. He comes bolting out of the room to go by me. I put my arm out to catch him. He just blows right through it. Runs around the staircase to the other side of the stairs, and I have it on night vision. So I have this on video of his reaction. I'll post it eventually. I saw somebody asking where's the video and stuff. Like I'm a busy guy. I'll get the video eventually. I went on an investigation where I found a half a mile long wall that some points was over 100 feet high, out in the middle of the woods in Pennsylvania. It looked like it was built by ancient giants.
Wow.
I have this on video. I spent like 14 hours there. I still haven't put the video out because I hate playing with video. I have the video, but people will see it eventually. Anyways.
Editing takes time, guys.
I hate it. Yeah, that's why I'm a podcaster. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a podcaster.
That's why I do this. I used to do what you do with the iTunes and all that, and I'm like, I can't anymore. I just want to talk to the people. I get it.
Yeah. So Jack runs around, and I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, something just whispered behind my head, and I'm like, what? And he's like, something just whispered right behind my head.
I remember that. I was there. I saw him do that too.
Great, man.
And he then he's calming down. He's trying to calm down and stuff. He comes over to me and he tells me that he goes into this the room that he went into. There's like a closet, like a smaller room that has a portal in it. And he kind of walks into it a little bit and just kind of like peeks in almost. And he's like, is there anybody in here? And that's not Jack. Like Jack doesn't talk to spirits. Like he's kind of like me. Let's just exist and see what happens. But I don't know why he did that. But he goes, is there anybody in here? And he goes behind his head. Like he could feel it like on the back of his head so close. He said, I don't know what it said, but it's just like, and he freaked out and ran out of the room.
I don't blame him.
And that was actually the second thing that happened to Jack, because a few minutes prior to that, I'm in that third floor and I walk into one of the rooms. We're all kind of walking around by in our own directions, and I walk into one of the rooms. As soon as I walk through the door, I see Jack pressed up against the wall like this. As soon as I turn in, and then I'm just like, dude, what happened? And he points to the ball, and he was like, when I walked into this room, there was this child's ball, completely empty except for a ball. And then when he looked at the ball, it started slowly rolling towards him. And that's when I walked in. So I looked at the ball. I was like, don't kick it, don't touch it. And we both just kind of backed out of the room very slowly. And then a couple minutes, I think like 20 minutes later, that happened with the whisper. And I was like, yo, this guy just got to.
So, yeah, I didn't know about the ball experience until after I got home. I missed that part. And so like when Chisholm was in that room and he's like trying to play with the ball to get it to move, I'm like, why are we playing with the ball? Like, was there a story here and stuff? But like, I didn't know that Jack had just had that experience. Wow. So Yeah, I mean, so that said, since Jack's not here, I'm going to say this because I can bust on him a little bit. Maybe because he's so short that maybe what was whispering behind his head was a little kid, because he's about the height of a little kid. So if the ball was rolling back and forth and then the whispering, maybe the kid just wanted to play with them. You don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, could have very well been. But did that change how did his skeptical mind
How did he feel about that
digest
afterwards?
that? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it changed anything for him, to be honest with you. I think that he experienced something that he believed going into the experience could happen. I just don't think he expected it to happen to him. But to his credit, I personally didn't notice a change in his behavior that night. I don't think it scared him away from anything. He still did his thing and chilled with us the whole time. And I think. Go ahead.
He did seem extra nervous when we went up there again when we did the live stream up there, and we had to go back up there, and he was like, remember we were talking about going back up there at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then Jack's like, I don't want to go back up there, man.
Did he say that?
Yeah. I mean, it's like this. Sometimes it's not being skeptical, it's processing information to how you can handle it in your mind at this time. Like you said, Tony, I'm not the guy I was at 17. I've changed all the way through. I'm changing. And our views change, and the information we have. Something like that happens, your default is to, okay, well, that could have been my imagination, or I'm all worked up. It could have been adrenaline. It could have been the wind. We start trying to get rid of it in some people because we can handle it better. Just like your mind shuts down when something very impactful in your life happens, something dangerous, and you've heard about people that just don't remember it. Your mind shut off. Now, I have actually had that experience when I was ready to handle it. One little thing just unleashed it, and I had to deal with it then. But I'm wondering if in some cases like that with someone who not say skeptic. I think skeptics get a bad thing. I think it's good to be skeptical about things, like very much like Chisholm put it, you know. But I'm wondering how he explained how he dealt with that in his mind. It might be a good question to ask him. He might have just blew it off and doesn't think about it, But he also may have found a happy spot for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's something
It's always good to be skeptical.
Right. And, I know people, too, that they could have something come right up and smack them in the face. And they're just like, okay, well, who did that hologram? And it's hard nowadays. We talk about it all the time with all the information. We keep saying, I want evidence. There's a shit ton of evidence. But which what's real? What's been messed with? What's photoshopped? What's this? And again, you could walk into a place by yourself with a brand new recorder and get out or whatever. Again, that doesn't prove anything. We got to kind of back up a little bit and go, okay, you got something. We can hear the words, but you don't know it's little Sally who died of diphtheria in 1902. We got to stop trying to force these puzzle pieces into these pictures. And again, we don't have the cover to the box because we're not going to get anywhere. The way and again, that's what I've learned. When I sat in that cellar and she was choking, I'm like, no, let her finish. She's trying to tell me something. This is her way. Maybe it's the only way she can. I don't know. But it did because we allowed that. And we didn't jump to conclusions. Other people in the room were trying to. Oh, well, her name is Allie, and we this. And I'm like, I don't think so. She's saying no. And I'm nobody. I just was getting her clear. And she's saying no. Her name is Allison. She died in the alley. You guys are misunderstanding. And that's what happens if we jump to conclusions and fill in all the blanks. We're not going to get to any kind of truth. We're just getting to our truth that we understand at this moment. And most of the time we're so wrong. We're so wrong. I mean, I've actually gone into houses, Tony, where you, and Laura knows this, Donny does too, where 4 different people saw the same entity in 4 different ways. I know that sounds nuts, but it materialized in 4 different ways to 4 different medium psychics. And nobody was talking. Everybody was just writing their stuff down. Then you leave, you go outside, you come together. What did you get? What are you getting? And I'm like, we all got the same feeling, but we all saw them different ways. So that tells me that people can be in the same room and see the same thing differently. And once you've got that piece of information, it really throws a wrench into all this other stuff where you go, you know, one minute you're seeing a little girl, next minute it's, you know, Hell's Gates open up and it's a demon pretending it's a little girl. Or none of this is happening and you're just a little loony. I mean, there's so many different things.
I've heard 2 examples of something like that from Strange Familiars podcast with Tim Renner.
Okay.
There was, I think it was a mom and a daughter that saw a UFO, and the one was like, it's so loud, oh my God, like, I can't stand this. And the other one heard nothing. And then also there was another thing where there was different people that had a Bigfoot encounter, and the one person saw like a black Bigfoot, the other one saw a white Bigfoot, and I think the person that saw the black one was like really terrified and really scared. The other person was not. So just basically same place, same time, same experience, but
Amazing.
It wasn't. It was completely different. So it's
Bigfoots
I don't know,
are
it's weird.
extremely telepathic, and they can. I mean, Tony, we could talk Bigfoot all day. I'm Native American, and I've seen them. You know, and I was taught from a very young age to respect. You know, so that's my take.
There's along that line. I'm blanking on her name. I know there's somebody that knows who I'm talking about though. What was the lady on YouTube? She did investigating with her dog Barbara and Gabby or something like that. Do you guys remember that?
Anybody in the chat?
Years ago. I don't know if she's still around, but she took out a lady, and I can't remember her name. Dang it. She took out a lady.
A woman with a dog, but I don't know if it's the same one. But you know what I'm saying?
I
almost remember.
So they're out there doing their thing, and this lady went with them, and it was her first time going out looking for Bigfoot, and they had something happen, and it's about perspective, right? So like now we're talking about a single person's perspective versus a camera's perspective.
Okay.
Right.
So this lady who is new at all this, she's out there with Barbara and her team, and she sees something black coming down out of a tree. It looked like a monkey, she said, and it happened real fast. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, like what did I just see?" You know, and she tells them, and they were filming, and so like they're like, if you saw what you saw, it's on camera. Let's go back and look at it, and this, that, and the other. So when they go back and look at the camera, and you see them talking about what she experienced on the way back, she's like, it was black. She was describing it. They get back, they review the footage, and when you see the footage, you don't see something black. You see something cloaked. You see movement, but it's transparent. Okay. It's like almost like a predator type thing.
Right.
And so in person, a human's eyes saw something black, but the camera pointing the same direction didn't pick up anything other than a translucent figure. And so it throws that whole perspective thing in there, but also people are like, why can't you get it on video? Maybe because we're dealing with something that doesn't want to be on video.
Exactly.
And I know that's woo-woo.
No, it's true.
Like,
no.
It's true. So
it
true,
is
Johnny.
true.
And that's
I agree
it.
with
and
that.
Again, I refer back to Zariah where he said, sometimes when you see things, your mind and your brain doesn't know how to perceive it, doesn't know what it is. And real quick, okay, well, it's in the woods and it's scary, monster, and you see monster, or you see, you know, we're not even close to understanding what our minds are capable of. My son has a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, and we went all through the development of the brain and rehealing and all this other stuff and tracks and how it fills in. Your brain is an amazing thing, you know, and if you exercise it, you know, like say it's going to go after your memory, so you go back over and you practice your memory, you go back and you try to remember things, you tell stories, and it will find another track, like water, it'll find a way and it'll refire, and you know, find different pathways and stuff. It's amazing. So I can honestly believe that. Now, as far as it cloaking, it doesn't want to be filmed, I gotta tend to agree with that. Why are they always fuzzy? You know, why is this? I mean, there's more than one kind, I will tell you that. But and this is just, again, not an expert, it's just something that I've learned over time, and all, you know, my ancestral teachings, and, you know, my grandmother teaching me. I mean, she used to take me through the woods, Tony, and, you know, because we were go herb picking, and she was teaching me herbal medicine. And there was always such a reverence and a respect when she walked into the woods. You stay on the path. If you ever get that feeling where the birds stop singing, the crickets stop chirping, and you feel like you're walking into a thicker thing, back up, retrace your steps, and respect it, and walk out. If you have something that you picked up from that area, put it back and walk out. And she would tell me little things, but she was about 90, and she would always look around right before she said anything to me. We're in the middle of the woods by ourselves. They were so protective of not being heard, not being found out to be Native American or to be talking about these things. So the last thing she said to me on the subject was, and I said, well, what's in here? You know, there are things in the woods that we do not speak of, because when you speak of them, they can hear you. Some are good, some are bad, just like us. And they were here before us, they'll be here after. And I just don't want them to take you with them. And that freaked me out. Then she stopped talking about it and left me there. I'm like, what? Who's taking me where? You know? So again, you know, you gotta, that said so much to me, because she said so little, that the things she said were so profound. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was my beginning. So, you know, going through, I never doubted for a moment. You know, I think, you know why? I look at it so simply. Before a shark was a shark, it was a cryptid. And it was an ugly, nasty, dangerous, man-eating cryptid. Scary as all get out. I still respect the hell out of him. I'm not a shark fan. You know what I mean? I read Jaws.
I mean, gorillas used to be cryptids at one point.
But you see, you know what I mean? There's so many things that we have not discovered and put the label on it or whatever. And, you know, that doesn't mean that we have to discover everything. We just have to know that we're not alone here, whether it's nature or whatever. And I just think it's so fascinating. It really is. You know, you guys' take on this place, you know, is amazing. I don't know what happened to Chisholm. I'm thinking his Kentucky.
Oh, he's he had to reset his router. He'll probably be back on in a.
I just want him to know he's absolutely welcome. He can pop in anytime.
Yeah, but, I told him. I'm texting. I've been texting back and forth with him.
It's just fascinating to me, and the big fascinating thing of this whole thing to me is two places about the same age, 18, 12-ish, okay? And, you know, a hotel, many people coming and going, energy like crazy. But because of the way it's put out there, or maybe it's just the energy that's there, maybe it's the ghost, who knows? We don't have a clue. But it's such a different experience. Yeah. And like you said, Tony, I mean, Laura, Donny, you guys have been at Hoover. You sit there and it just keeps coming. It just keeps coming as well, you know, because the spirits there are amazing. It
that
really
reminds
is.
me, Tony, did you get in terms of like your sense, did it feel very different from Burnbrae Manor?
Oh yeah.
That's your second haunted place you've been to now doing this. Did you feel a difference there versus at Shanley?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I brought my wife and daughter to Burnbrae. Yeah. You know, like my baby girl. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. It felt dark. Like I don't really do a whole lot of feeling. Like I don't feel a whole lot of stuff, especially in the moment. I tend to just exist in the moment. Okay. But looking back at it, comparing the two, and what I went through, it's night and day. Now I know at Burnbrae, Cleet, that was his name, right? Cleet.
Cleet, yeah, he got messed up.
Yeah, he got really jacked up.
He asked for it though.
He did ask for it, and he also, I mean, in all honesty, we don't know. We don't know where he is. So I mean, I'm just gonna say, we suspect he might be dead right now. He got hit hard at this place. He kind of went a little.
He went catatonic.
Yeah. And now we didn't know him beforehand. I didn't know any of you before that trip.
Yeah, we all met him the first time.
And so, like, going into the experience and stuff, before that night, we were walking around that megalith park, and he came up to me. And he's like, he's very, what would you say, like eccentric? I don't know if that's the right word.
Very bombastic.
Yeah.
Very bombastic. He was just very, yeah.
He struck me as the type that I was like, you hold your breath around, where I'm like, oh my God, because if you say the wrong thing or look at him the wrong way, he's going to snap. Yes. I was scared around him. I was not comfortable.
Yeah, and I didn't know how to take him at times, where, like, the first thing he said to me when we were walking through there, he's like, Tony, one day we're going to work together. And I'm like, I barely work well with my wife, bro. Like, what makes you think that we're going to work good together? Like, and like my wife told me we had a meeting today at 2 p.m. I didn't show up for it. So we had to reschedule it for tomorrow, because it's just like,
you don't do good in planned events. I get it.
Yeah. So like, so he says that, and he's like, well, God told me that we're going to be working together, this, and like, listen, God didn't tell me anything. And unless God tells me, I'm not going to let you into my house, kind of thing. Because that's what I look at, what I do and stuff. Like, I keep it very close to me, and I don't let everybody in.
I can't deal with the drama, man. The drama.
Right. Exactly.
Drama-free zone,
man.
Yeah.
So he was like that kind of right off the top. And so when he had the experience he had, I just kind of laid back. Everybody was giving him attention and everything. I just kind of laid back, because I was like, I don't know if this guy is serious or if he's trying to get attention. And because he was trying to get attention the entire time we were there, from me, also the ladies, all that stuff. So like, I was like, I don't know what to make of this. So I'm going to let other people, because like, there's plenty of people here that want to care for him and rub his back and stuff. I'm just going to lay back, because I don't really do good with that stuff. Like if you're trying to get attention, like I get grumpy. And so I just kind of laid back and let it all work itself out. Now, after that whole thing, he kind of like came out of his funk and stuff on the way back, and he had some bad luck just start hitting him. Like there was something wrong with his flight. He couldn't leave Philadelphia the day we got back, so he had to actually stay at my brother-in-law's place for a day. And it was just like all this like bad luck started happening. But I think he also is the kind of person that brings on the bad luck. So you wonder, like, is it paranormal? Is it him? Is it a mixture of both? Is he haunted by paranormal, and that's why he makes bad decisions? Like, all that stuff goes through your head. But he was out in Vegas, and he kept in touch. So he was supposed to interview with me, I think twice now, on my show about his experiences there. He missed me twice now, which is fine. But he texts my brother-in-law here and there. They kept in touch, and I guess he went out to Vegas, and he I guess he made a lot of money, but then he lost a lot of money, and I think he wound up owing people money that he didn't want to owe money to. And so he has an iPhone, and anybody who has iPhones, that if you're texting somebody else with an iPhone, it comes up blue. Well, that's the case with Creed and Cleet. It's both blue messages because they both have iPhones. When Cleet texted him and said, "Hey, I'm in trouble," or something like that, I forget the exact verbiage, but he was like, "I'm in trouble. Like I got mixed up with some wrong guys out here," and Creed texted him back. He's like, "What's going on? What do you mean?" And when he texted him, it came up green, which means that his phone got turned off. And Creed texted him. That was months ago, and then Creed texted him like a week or two before we went to the Shanley to see how he's doing, and it still came up green. So like, we don't know what happened to him, but he was definitely the kind of guy that sought the edge of life in the moment, And so when it came to the paranormal, he acted that way. When it came to socializing with people he first met, he acted that way. When it comes to maybe gambling and taking money from people that you should think twice about taking money from, maybe he acted that way. And so when I said that he might be dead, we think that because he's not answering Creed, and he did answer Creed. He wouldn't answer me. Never. but because I've texted him a couple of times, he's never really answered me. But Creed, he would answer, and now it's coming up green, like his phone's been disconnected. And so I don't know, but that's my little Vegas mob story, I guess.
That's a mystery, but you know what? These things can happen.
He might
You
just be
know,
in
I
jail.
mean,
Maybe.
you
Yeah.
don't know me, and I don't go looking for things. I get called. You know, like somebody will call. I mean, an actual phone call, and you know they'll call me and go, okay, well we've got these people. What are you thinking? Can you? And I'm like, okay. And if I don't have somebody, if it's something that I can do, like I said, I got this paranormal chain. We all do. We make friends along the ways. We've already filtered out all the, you know, at this point. I mean, like you said, you've been doing 5 years. I've been doing podcasts at least that. And, you know, being in this and trying to understand, you know. The only reason I started a podcast was to reach out to other people who had experiences and go, hey, you can tell them here. Let's learn together. You know, because that's what we're doing every day. We're learning together.
Yeah.
And so this one, like I said before, you know, the pets are getting sick. This is happening. You know, the wife is, her wife was very sick, back and forth to the hospital. I'm like, okay, you got to, you know, tell me more. I'm going to send some people there that are close to your thing. But was there anything that you did, you know, before that? Well, we're paranormal investigators. We're a team, her and I, and they like to do the extreme cases. And they were continually going to this place that supposedly a serial killer had buried all his victims and trying to conjure up the serial killer. Well, they did. And he got, you know, basically jumped her wife or whatever, and was hanging at the house and would make her ill, and took the one that was weaker, as far as whatever you want to call, I call it cracks in your windshield. You know, eventually you got cracks in your, someone's going to push on it hard enough, it's going to bust. So that's what was going on. We got some professionals in there to help and walk through it. But that's what it came down to, is he was still there. And the fact that they're calling him and doing all this and giving him attention and everything else, he was like, hey, you know, the people don't realize that in cases of, you know, someone who's on death row and gets, you know, killed in an electric chair or whatever, and they allow people to come in, they're in a lot of states, there are people who just go there to put down energy so this thing won't stay. Because once you kill that kind of energy, you disperse it. Did anybody ever see Shocker? I can't tell you how close to truth that is, because I've seen it. You know, and people have got to understand, when you go digging around and stuff, like, you know, like they're saying here all the time, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And it really does kind of come down to that. But I think it also is to take things seriously, but not too seriously. You don't want to get so caught up in this that things like that happened to this gentleman you're talking about. Maybe he had that personality. If he's got that kind of personality in his daily life on the outside, living on the edge, doing quick things, making quick bad judgments, and maybe things like that, something would be drawn to that. You know, it's an easy fix. I was a bartender, man, in a haunted hotel, and I could watch this one thing, this like one, sometimes it would be a darker gray and sometimes it would be a lighter gray, and sometimes you'd see it and sometimes you didn't need to, because it had a pattern. It would go down the bar and pinch a woman on the butt and watch her turn around and slap the guy, and then, you know, you could just go right down the bar, and I'm like, he's at it again. But he was what I call a jumper, and it was almost like he was testing the backs of people, and I can't explain that. But if someone was very sad or extremely drunk, or I knew that they had, you know, say bad life, drug problem or something along those lines, the next thing you know, this is shot at tequila, no salt, the whole personality would change. And they'd start drinking tequila, which is what this, I'm assuming this ghost must have done. And then they'd go back, extreme headaches, their personality would go back. I'm like, holy shit. Holy shit. And this is like way back in the day before I had any idea. I just knew enough to watch and probably find a new job. Because, you know, it's just, again, we don't understand. But if that's true, if ghosts, or earthbound spirit, whatever you would call them, if there are and ghosts like that just want to stay so they can get that taste of alcohol or start a bar fight, or there's people like that. There's people like that are alive. So I don't understand why people think people change when they die if they're still here. I get the whole crossing over thing. I'm all about it. But if you're still here, nothing's happened to you to change your attitude and how you act. So there's going to be ghosts that are shitty.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And they don't have to be demons or anything, you start adding all this power names to these things. It's just probably, what do we say, Donny, Laura? If you were an asshole in life, you're an ass soul in death.
Yeah.
Until something happens to change it.
I love it. I love it.
We got to get together and talk sometime, man.
Yeah.
Talk about
Yeah.
Bigfoot and everything else. I'm telling you, I know we were supposed to get you out of here 45 minutes ago. I know you got to go.
Yeah, I
Can you
gotta go.
tell us a little bit about, tell everybody in here seems to know, but you got to tell us where to find you and a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, some of the people here might not be familiar.
Right. Yeah. Please do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the bottom of the screen, you see Tony Merkel. I host the Confessionals podcast, and it's me having people on the show share their experiences. We hold a conversation. When I started the show out, I was brainstorming as to how I wanted this show to go and how I wanted it to be. I was a big Joe Rogan fan. I still am. Yeah. And so I just wanted to be the paranormal Joe Rogan. And
your show very much is that. It's like that same formula. The paranormal side is perfect. I love it.
I've totally listened to it before. I just, with my old brain, man, I wasn't manifesting right.
Listen, I'm not under any delusions. Like, I know my show's not for everybody, and I know not every episode's for everybody, but I think that people who come on my show, who I interview, if I walk away from that interview feeling like I may not agree with how they view their experience, but if I believe they had an experience and they went through something, I will air it. And knowing that not every episode is going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I think that I've seen far too many times where I interview somebody, I release an episode that just probably average in my mind, and there's people commenting saying that impacted me so much because I went through that too, and I'm just like, that's why I don't hold back. And I'm just like, listen, this is how I built my platform. I just talk to people. And that's what I do. I just finished I have a studio and an office downtown now, and the renovation just finished, and I started moving in 2 days ago. And awesome. Yesterday I did my first interview with somebody in person. Now my studio is not going to be open to just anybody. I don't trust people like that. I'm in Tennessee, but I still got Philly Tony in me, so I don't trust a whole lot of people. You shouldn't. No, I won't. But I invite people that I know in the studio, and the one guy I had in yesterday, and we had a great conversation, and I had one of those experiences where I'm sitting there having this conversation, and for the first time, I was like, this is how I envisioned my show being. Like I wanted to have a show where I'm sitting across the table with somebody and we're just talking, having a good conversation about paranormal, letting it just be free flowing. And that interview, that conversation is going to come out this Tuesday. I'm going to call it Georgia Guidestones, CERN, and Men in Black. So we kind of go all over the place.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour conversation. It flew by. I should add somewhere in the title Stranger Things, because I spent like the last 30 minutes talking about how Stranger Things upside down is real. And so like I just that's how I approach my show. People can check it out. I'm doing a lot of other things now too. I'm doing filmmaking.
You have an absolutely beautiful intro, man. Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my favorite. I love it so much.
I mean,
his outro music is always on point too.
Oh, I love it. And I can appreciate it because, I don't know, if you do it all yourself or if you I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I do all the stuff I do, and I mean, my husband usually writes the music and, everything.
Oh, wow.
Because, well, the thing is when you're starting a podcast, you're getting into iTunes and everything is so specific and copyright. So I'm like, I'm not even playing the game with the licensing and all that. Just write me the song. This is what I'm looking for. And I'm, he's an old punker from way back in the day.
That's cool.
Wonderful keyboard player. And he can also like I want some this in it. Can you put a little lightning? How about some go woo, a little bit of that? And 5 minutes later, and then he's playing it for me. I had tears, and I'm an old tough broad, but I'm like that's it, So I know what it's like. You put so much of yourself into it, and you envision it to be a certain way. Now all you need is the people to come in and the people to listen. But that one thing, I'll have an episode out that was like 5 years ago, and I'll get a comment that hit me, that helped me so much. I just lost my dog, or I just lost my my child, or my whatever, and it helped me through that, and or I thought I was crazy. I heard that sound too right before the manifestation, or whatever little thing it may be that resonates with that listener in that moment. And it's not just for that moment, it's for like as long as it lasts. So I'm kind of doing this to leave a little bit behind when I'm gone. Somebody can take it and keep it, put it in playlist, whatever, because this is a lot of time, 50 years of trying to figure out, and Donny and I it's so funny, but this explains it a little bit, is Zariah, I had him on the other night, and he really opens my mind and makes me think different, sometimes, and take another look at something, and sometimes I'll go, no, I was right, I'm good with the other. I'm not, my consciousness can't, quantum entanglement and stuff. I mean, I've got my limits, what I'm saying? It's not, but I'm willing to learn, but you know what I mean? But it's just not my wheelhouse, but I want to understand. So, and I'm good with Tesla and the dimensions and all that. I'm good there. But when you really get into physics of stuff, I'm learning. Let's not,
Yeah.
And but the thing is you want to leave not so much a legacy or whatever, but the brilliance of people, the guests that come on, and the experiences, and just everybody that comes in. It's just your everyday people. And I've had people on here that I just really, you fangirl out. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to come on here and talk to me. The one for me was Mark Nesbitt and Richard Sennett. I was a 10-year-old girl, cross-legged in front of the Zenith, watching the little expert in the corner, Richard telling me about, and to see where he is now, and has his perspective changed. It's amazing. And Mark is gone from, I don't know if you're familiar with Mark Nesbitt, but he was a guard in Gettysburg for like 20-something years, and he started the Candlelight Ghost Walking Tours. And it's that Candlelight Ghost Walking Tours where you're really going to get that kind of old unsolved mystery sightings kind of feel. We're doing the history. We're not, we're being respectful, all that kind of thing. And then he moved up to the next level, where he's with Kathleen Ramsland, who is a fantastic researcher. She writes for Psychology Today, all these different things. But they are looking into paranormal crime scene investigation. So actual trying to solve the crimes through the victim speaking, and things like DNA evidence, like the fluid that came up on the bottom of one of these farmhouse floors that were used for a hospital. They actually tested it, human DNA, and then it was gone. And they went back, it's gone. It wasn't bloody looking, it wasn't anything like that, but it did come up with, it had blood in it, even though it didn't look like blood. It was so weird. So what is that? Ectoplasm? What the hell is that? A leftover from, we don't know. But even people like that are still learning and going to the next thing and trying to add to the knowledge just to share. And I think what you're doing is absolutely wonderful. It's a great format.
Yeah,
and I really think we should, God told me we should get together and have a conversation.
She went there.
You bet I did.
I set it up.
I just gotta say, personally, as a fan of the show, I mean, for me, what the confessionals is there were certain episodes where I'm like, everyone in the paranormal community needs to hear this. Like the Enochian Tech one, the Zakian one. I think everyone needs to hear those. Like everyone. There's so many episodes that are like that, where it's just like, whoa, And,
Go I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and I was just gonna say, also some of the guests some of these people that have these experiences and some of these guests, I mean, their stories are amazing.
Well, with what I do, man, and kind of running off what Cisco said, like, whatever you want to call it, I just want to, I just want to build my life in a way where I impact people in a good way, a positive way, and in a sense, live through these people and their lineage for hundreds of years.
Mhm.
Like I want to have that kind of impact in the world, whether it's like obvious, hey, that's Tony Merkel right there, or just the essence that has been like something got somebody's life was changed by listening to my show, and because of that, their entire lineage has been changed. That's the kind of stuff that kind of pushes me for this. That's kind of like my life goal. It's just weird that I'm doing it through the paranormal, right? But like the shows, there's been some shows. Like I was just talking to a lady today and through email. She's been on the show, episode 175. I think I called it "It Pulled Me Down the Hall" or something like that with Melissa. And her and I are going to probably do another interview. Things have been good. Things haven't been good. But
I remember that episode.
It seems like she needs to talk again, and so we're gonna do that. And so I know, like I said, every show isn't for everybody, but I really don't do my show I'm not trying to put out an episode that is just going to be perfect for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, but yeah, it's just funny how it's all kind of launched from the confessionals where things are going, the filmmaking, and I'll say it anyway. So we have an opportunity here. My executive producer is talking with a Hollywood screenwriter reached out to me, and they're talking right now. And if it develops into something worth my attention, my producer will schedule a meeting with me. They're looking at possibly turning some of my episodes into movies, and possibly my show into a TV show, kind of like Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how that all goes and stuff. But when I bring that stuff up because, 5 years ago when I started this podcast, never could have imagined where we'd go, and at the very root of it all has been just me trying to live my life in a way where I impact people in a positive way. I don't need everybody to agree with me on spiritual things or how I view the world. I just want to be present in people's lives through audio with podcasting, and through that affect people in a positive way. And that's been my goal and my mission through this whole thing. And I kind of kept that close to my chest for a lot of years, just because I didn't want people feeling like I'm trying to preach to them, because I knew it was going to come across that way anyways for some people, because they're intolerant of other people's views. And so as soon as I say I'm a Christian, they're like, whoa, this guy's trying to preach and stuff. So I just kept it close to my chest. But at the end of the day, the reason why I do all this stuff is because I just want to be a positive influence in people's lives. I've had very few people in my life that were positive influences on me, and the ones that were changed me forever. And so that's just kind of like a life goal of mine. And it's just, for me, it's crazy to see how things have developed to this point. And I just really feel like I'm just along for the ride. I don't think I'm anything special. I'm just riding along with what God has for my life and seeing where it takes me.
The thing that I've noticed about you is you seem, you are a perfectionist, right? I could tell you're definitely a perfectionist, and you do things the right way. You don't get involved in bullshit. You just
the drama.
focus.
And there's so
you're
much.
Totally focused on the technology side, the editing side. You take everything seriously. The thing I respect about you the most, Tony, is that you kind of think like a samurai.
Nice.
And you treat this like it's you're like the Musashi of paranormal podcasting.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
It sounds really good.
Musashi was like this dope ass samurai who never lost a fight. Yeah.
It's really, really good. But see, this is it. We truly are all pebbles dropped in the pond. It's like the, whatever you want to call God, creator, drops you as a pebble. Now go ripple. Some people put out negative ripples. Some people just sit there and the ripples are real faint. Some people are just bombastic. And some care about the ripples and say, I want to leave a positive effect on this world. We all do it. It's like you go into a place, you want to leave it better than, when you got there, if you can. Whether it's an apartment, a house, whatever. You're not destructive. You're constructive in a positive way. And that's the same thing. It's like people ask me, well, what do you mean you must make a lot of money on this podcast. God, are you kidding me? You never do. It's not for people like us, because you structure this as, I'm not going to go out to dinner at all, and I'm going to pay for my StreamYard, I'm going to pay for my Libsyn, I'm going to pay for my internet, I'm going to try to get a better mic, I'm going to reach out to more guests, whatever it is. But we do it because we love it. It's not because we're getting anything. If I ever get super chats or whatever, it goes right back into the podcast, because I want to keep it going for everybody in here, for everybody that'll listen later. And that's it. You just want that one thing. It's like, if I left a positive effect on somebody, how much better is that than leaving a negative effect on them? It's just the way we do things. But you probably live your everyday this way, because you want to be more positive.
I'll tell you, and it's funny that I'm talking about this right now, because I've been thinking about this the past week or so. I act a certain way, and I'm not perfect. And I know I say some things on my show that I probably should edit out, and I leave in there, and I regret it later.
Yeah.
But I try to be this impactful person for people's lives, complete strangers. I mean, the people who listen, I don't know who they are, and I want to be an impactful person in life, and to a fault. I was just thinking about this week. I've started noticing that I got to be more on guard and make sure that my children's time with me isn't suffering as a result. And it's something that I don't think about a whole lot, because I live here with them. But because I'm here all the time, it's like, oh, they're fine. But a lot of times I wind up giving more attention to this than my own family. And yeah, that has to happen in a sense where I have to keep the ship going, and everybody understands that. But I think in the there are moments on my show where I recognize in the moment, this is an impactful moment and I need to use it wisely. I don't really have those moments with my kids sometimes, a lot of times, where they're like, I'm in the moment with my children, but I'm not present mentally, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I guess I don't know why I feel the need to say that, other than, maybe other people need to hear that too. Like, there I go with the whole impact thing.
Well, there's a balance, Tony. There's a balance.
Yeah.
What you're doing is very important. It's very difficult to work from home. If you talk to any author, I'm a real big Civil War person. I love Shelby Foote. I think he was just a gracious gentleman. And some people, oh, he's a South sympathizer and he's this. I'm like, you guys are still warring. Haven't we learned anything? Come on. Stop. Listen to what he's saying. He's one of the most eloquent speakers. He wrote the Civil War, all 3 volumes, which is huge. It took him 20 years. He has something worth listening to, and people will just block themselves. I think there's a lot of that going on, but I think you'll find that the people who listen are going kind of like they're here. They found other ways to reach out and take in what they want to take in. Podcasts have done that for them. You listen while you're driving a truck. I was a truck driver in the Army. I can tell you right now that, you listen, Art Bell. That's what made Art Bell. Truckers in the night. And, everybody has their way of coping right now. I think podcasts that reach out like yours do, because, Donny's filled me in on a lot of things too that I didn't know. And we're right there on a lot of the same things as far as our beliefs and, why we don't want to be in the drama. There's so much drama in the paranormal. We've got to keep putting those positive things out there, and we got to keep saying, it's just like the world. They're trying to compartmentalize all of these different paranormal, supernatural events. They're all connected, people. I mean, it really is. And I've seen fist fights at conventions, UFO people against Bigfoot and this person against that. And I'm like,
Dogman
what are you
people
doing?
versus Bigfoot people
Oh,
getting
gosh,
into
yeah.
like brawls
But
in the parking lot.
yeah,
I
that's
love
what
it.
I'm trying
I
to
love
get
the
out
chaos.
of. We keep saying, you know, we need a paranormal unity and we need to share. Yeah, we do. But the thing is we don't understand what we're even sharing yet. We don't understand the evidence. I love people that get together and say, here's everybody's evidence at this house. Did you get anything else? Did it match? Does it fill in a blank? This is what we need to be doing. And you're trying to fill in the blanks. You're trying to get to the truth, and you're trying to have your normal, average, everyday people on here and give them a voice, you know, and that's what I'm trying to do too.
I just, yeah, that's exactly it. I just want to have fun.
Right.
Put on an entertaining show for people. Like when I started it, I had three rules. I wanted to entertain somebody, educate somebody, or inspire somebody. If one of my episodes hits on one of those things, I'm happy. If it hits on all three, we're killing it that episode. I just want. I don't know. It's just where my life took me. So
impact. You're making a positive impact, and that's what we need. That's why you're uncomfortable in the house. Not that they're handling it wrong or what they're doing is wrong. And we're not saying that, you know, at the Shanley. What we're saying is it's different than something else is handled differently. And that ought to open up your mind enough to say there's a difference between positive and negative. And how people don't get that and why they think it's, you know, it's so hard to wrap their minds around. It's how you carry yourself. If you carry yourself in the light, if you go by your divine spark, I call it, then Chisholm right in here. You kind of handle things different. You're a little calmer or whatever. It doesn't mean you don't get mad. It doesn't mean you don't get angry. You know, it's just you handle things a little different, maybe a little more forgiving or a little bit more. I look at it as young souls who haven't learned anything yet. There's a lot of, you know, soul trippers going on. And then there's some that take things a little slower, and I think that does come with age. And I think that's the true wisdom, is understanding we don't have all the answers. We can't judge other people so much, not by all their actions, you know, because it's crazy. It's crazy how we do this guy here and he's this and he's that. We got to go back to a calmer time. And the reason I brought up Shelby Foote is because Shelby Foote said working at home is an acquired taste, because if you're an author or if you're working and you get interrupted, he said it'd take him like 4 days to get back into the groove again. So that's why we're trying to get in there, stay so intent, and then we come back and, okay, I'm ready for my family now. And they're like, yeah, but you've been locked in there for 6 hours. We wanted to do this and that. So there's a balance there, and everybody kind of has to understand that you're not blocking them. It's the artist that needs that time. You're in that groove, and if you bust that groove, you might not ever get it back.
Yeah,
it's a hard thing.
What's nice is that for the first time now, I have an office that's not in my house. And so I text my wife today. I was at the office. I went over this morning, and I pretty much did a lot of work today. But I told her, I said, I can feel the difference. I don't have the kids distracting me. I'm in my groove. I'm doing my thing. And now when I'm at home, I can be completely present because the studio's out of the house.
Yes.
And so I got to run.
Yes. Pleasure meeting you, by the way. And thank you so much for taking this time to do this. And I really appreciate it. And honestly, you know, I think that the whole reason we maybe, again, things happen when they're supposed to happen. And I'd love to talk to you absolutely again. You know,
100%.
We got a lot of stuff. We could start with the Lincoln conspiracy and work our way through.
Oh, okay.
There's so much.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
We can go back further if you want. We can go back further. I'm all about Titanic, Jekyll Island. I got you, babe.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds like I can get a bunch of episodes out of you.
Yeah.
Man.
You can just push play, go home, keep it running, and then come back and just put it on because he's like, okay, go, Cisco.
Sounds good.
I get excited. You know, the adrenaline's pumping. Pleasure meeting you, and thank you so much. Thank your kind family for giving you this time with us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tony.
Appreciate
This
your
is really
insight.
awesome of
Thank
you. I'm very grateful.
Every gatekeeper in here, throw Tony some bacon love and show him how much we appreciated we had him in here tonight. Bacon is love here, so.
I love bacon.
There you go. Well, see, That works out. So we love you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it.
You got it. Thanks for having me, guys. See
Bye,
you.
Tony. Thanks.
See you, Laura. Bye.
Laura, are you feeling okay, honey? You can go anytime. I know you're I can see it. I can see
Yeah.
it. We're going to play the video because I think now everybody here oh, here comes the bacon. So, man, that was wild. And so all of a sudden I got bacon. Woo, it's like a bacon tsunami. This is awesome.
And
the little video, do you want to say anything and then go, or do you want to stay?
I was gonna get up and like get a pillow to like prop myself
You
up
go.
and stuff.
It's
and
an 8-minute video, babe.
yeah,
Oh, you're gonna get a pillow and come back?
yeah, and also what I also was gonna say too is like I didn't want to keep Tony on longer, but like Tony doesn't have to sit here and like do this. He goes on so many other shows for like other podcasts, and like his podcast has been growing and he's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and he's been
God
dropping
bless
these
him.
docs
Like
and
one of the biggest
everything.
ones.
Everybody
And
send
he-
him good energy. Lift him up. Let him go get whatever, because he's going to do so well with it. He's
He-
going to do so well.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like
we
he's
need
so
that.
humble. He's so down to earth. He could have this like attitude, like, oh, I have a really high paranormal
A lot of
podcast,
them
and blah, blah,
do.
blah. Like, but he's not like that at all.
be
He's
surprised.
just like any guy off the street.
I
But
know
anyways.
if I was as popular as Tony, I'd be a total asshole.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, I would.
Donnie,
I
you're a
would.
total asshole
I'd be a
now. What are you trying
total
to kid?
asshole.
So that, I think that was a great treat, and we can thank Donnie and Laura for that, because, you know, and honestly, I was not I knew the name, but I wasn't, it's my fault, because I'm like, sometimes I can't, my stuff doesn't fire all the time. I'm getting old. But I was like, I know the name, but Donnie was kind of throwing names at me that was in this group, and I wasn't thinking.
I've sent you his podcast before a
I
bunch
know
of
you
times.
have. I've listened to it.
Oh,
it.
Cisco,
you know,
there's
before I
let
knew
me
you guys.
show
It's great
later on.
stuff.
Later on, Cisco,
is.
I'll send you specific episodes, some
Okay.
that will freaking blow your goddamn mind.
I can't wait.
Like your brain will
I
melt
can't
out.
wait
There
to
were
do
a
it.
couple episodes where I'm like, my brain is melting out of my ears right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I want my brain to melt. It's already gone. But
Oh my goodness.
I'm
And-
just very pleased to have him. And if I realized who he was like yesterday, instead of trying to get all, because like he said, this is hard to do, and you have to do other stuff. You have to rush through the rest of your life to get this done. You know, I like to do little things for you guys so you have like a way of seeing. And then it hit me all of a sudden. I'm like, when I went and checked it out, I said, I gotta check that, see if I.
Oh, real quick.
If something snaps. And then I realized who he was, and I'm like, yeah, I've loved this guy for years, you know? So-
AJK was asking me which episode, like what number.
Okay.
You know, he wants to know
22.
which episode I think would melt Cisco's brain.
But
I think it would be the Enochian technology one. If she listened to that one, oh,
I'm pretty
man,
sure I sent
Cisco.
her that one before.
The
ya?
Enochian technology one. Oh
Okay.
man.
I've listened to
I
that
can't
like
wait.
3 times.
Everyone's
like I
got to
said,
listen to that.
I'm still learning a lot. You know, I've got my wheelhouse where I feel comfortable in, you know, and the stuff that I've been doing for years. But you have to try to expand out and understand a little bit more about, because I do believe all this is connected. And, you know, energy is energy. So energy is connected to energy. It's just what, you know, it's into. So that's where I'm at. And I'm thrilled to have him. I absolutely love him. It was great meeting him this way, because you see even more of the person, you
Yeah.
know, and I love and totally respect what he's doing about reaching out and touching somebody in a positive way. Sometimes here we have to do, you know, it's almost negative, but we try to leave it in a better way to let you guys know that you've got the power to do anything. You know, I never want everybody to feel scared or anything like that, and I certainly wasn't trying to scare Laura. I figured if I told Donnie, you guys just put down protection, if you had, I don't know if it would have hit you that way. I don't know.
Cisco.
I mean, it's
oh
hard to
yeah,
say.
Laura, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Laura.
No, I
Go
was
get
just
your
gonna.
pillow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, like, I don't know. I mean, I even put my bracelets on and shit for just talking about it, because that place is really like. But I mean, I still feel like, and I was worried because I've literally been in pain for like 4 months now, extreme pain every day, all day long, and it's like I've been like so drained, and I just was
You
like,
were so
I
weak going in
shouldn't.
there.
I shouldn't have even been going in there. I think maybe that I would have felt better and been better for a while, I think maybe it wouldn't have smacked me so hard, but I just knew in my gut that I was like, I cannot stay here. It's something bad's gonna happen to me if I
I think you
do.
did the right thing. I hate that it happened to you, honey. I do. I
Yeah.
was so disappointed for you, but I was so glad when you didn't.
I'll be right back. I just gotta
Go.
run up and grab some
Go.
greens.
Go ahead.
I mean,
honey.
there wasn't even like a time where I was like, I mean, like, yeah, kind of now I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I would have hung out a little bit longer and saw what happened, but also too, I was just like, I'm so glad I'm out of there and then I'm not going to sleep there. And then when I got home, I was watching, oh, I was talking to you too. I like to watch Exploring with Josh on YouTube. He's got like a million followers and he does all these really cool videos, and him and his crew went to the Shanley Hotel, and I'm watching this other guy that he's with. His name is Seth, and he did basically the exact same thing. He had to walk out of the Shanley, and as soon as because he got completely overwhelmed and he got really sick to his stomach, which I didn't feel sick when I was there, but I got overwhelmed and I cried, and they were all like, as he's walking out the door and he starts to feel better when he's outside, they're like, I think he's an empath. He always gets hit with this stuff when we go out. I'm like, dude, that's the same shit that happens to me. And I don't even remember what else I was going to say about that.
Well, you got validated for one thing, and that goes with what Tony was just saying. What we're doing is trying to put the information out there so people can get, and you did that exact thing.
Honest to God, I swear, I only knew a few things, a handful of things.
Well, you're not crazy, because when you were on the phone, again, when you're on phones, the energy goes through, and I felt all of it on you. I was feeling you were in a car or by a car. There was cars close to you. That's why I did, surround the car, under the car, above the car, the whole thing. We cleansed her from the outside in, and, then we had her take everything out, and I could feel it lifting. Yeah. I could feel it lifting from you, as we were talking. I don't even know if you remember that, because you were deep. You were deep in, where I was telling you how to breathe and, to get it, and I put everything on her to get it off. We did Archangel Michael right out of the gate, and it went, and then it was getting her back on her feet. But there was definitely something that just, and I do think it could have very well been that woman. Because of, they call it the weeping woman, and they say, again, that it's the mom of the kid that lost the kids, but again, we don't know. We're just, that's where you're taking the story. You're making the story fit the ghost instead of listening to the ghost's story, if that makes sense. And something is there that is extremely sorrowful. And you've been in a lot of ways that way, because of the pain and everything else. So it's going to be attracted to that. See? And it's going to put all their stuff on you at the same time. And that's what happens. It doesn't mean that there was, they opened the box, the demon came out and hit her. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there was a human entity there that was attracted to her energy because she was feeling the same way they were, and that energy resonates together. Like we said, it's not just positive to positive, negative to negative. Mm-hmm. It seems that ghosts have this ability to be drawn to like energy, so if you're, like I said about the ghost in the bar, if you've got your stuff and defenses are down and it's going to jump into you, that's a jumper. But a ghost will be attracted to you that's not so much a jumper, but just, there's somebody that's like me, and it's like, moth to a flame, and it just hits you all at once. So that's kind of, I think it was,
because there was like, how many people with us, and nobody got hit like I did. Everybody else was like fine, but the other person who hosted, no, I know, that's what I was going to say. The other person that goes on the trip with us, her boyfriend is Creed. That's Tony's brother-in-law, and her and I have a lot of very similarities the way we feel things. When we first went to Burnbury Mansion, I was up in the attic with a bunch of people. I was with Tony and Donny and whoever else. And I'm like, guys, I feel this like electric static on my back. And I'm like, guys, like I had holes in my jeans, and I'm like, I feel around my thighs, I feel this coldness. And they're like, oh, there's probably a crack in the door or whatever. And I'm like, dude, no, it's the middle of summer. It's hot as hell. We're in a stuffy attic. I'm like, I'm feeling cold. And I'm thinking, like, these guys probably are not believing me. So Jen and Creed open up the door. They walk in, and Jen's like, "Oh, I feel this coldness around my legs, like my thighs." And she's like rubbing her legs. I'm like, "Thank you. I told
Yeah.
you."
Hey, Laura,
Validation.
do you remember what I yelled after that, right across the room?
At Burnbrae?
Yeah, when that happened, I remember that moment. I
No.
remember, and
I don't
because I
remember
was
that
on
at
the
all.
other side of the attic. That attic was pretty big, so I
Yeah.
didn't hear you guys. So all of a sudden, so I just look over and I'm on the other side of the attic, and I'm like, "Hey guys, they got real life cowboy guns here." That was it. That was it. I was like, "They got real Civil War guns. This is cool."
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
I'll take you to the Gettysburg, the
Yeah,
museum.
they had like all like
I'll show
authentic
you
like guns from the
Lincoln's chair.
1800s, and I was like, "Wow."
I'll show you bullets that hit in midair and
Yeah.
fuse together. I mean, the stuff like that fascinates me. Blue, absolutely. Follow your
But
gut. Follow
Laura,
your gut.
it's funny that you mentioned that, because I got to say, for me personally, I think I experienced more personally at Burnbrae and Hoover than I did at Shanley. Like in
Okay.
terms of my own personal, like
Yeah,
my
but see,
sensations.
here's the thing too. There are people who are going to want to go to Hoover for that experience, and then there's going to be people that everything we said here, they're going to go, I'm going there. Because they
Yeah,
want that
yeah.
intense, you know, and Hoover is also intense, but not in a negative way.
No,
you
they
know?
want to go to. I know they want to
You
go to
know,
a fucked up
They
place.
want to go, yeah,
They-
and
yeah,
because
they
there's
wanna go to a
still a
fucked up
market
place.
for that. I mean, but look at how people were raised in the past, 20 years or 30
Yeah.
years, the video games and, the zombie stuff and all that. People have become desensitized to it, and their level of adrenaline is going to, it's going to take more to get that rush, whatever it is they're going for. People that just want to talk to ghosts and try to understand and stuff are going to go into a more mild situation, trying to understand it and go with like-minded intent. So what you guys actually proved is the point that I've been trying to make for years, that it's intent, it's the company, it's, because a whole different group of people could walk in there or any place and get a whole different experience. You see what
Yeah.
I mean? It's also the collective energy of the people going in. So Laura, go get your pillow. Donnie, if you want to jump in here while this is playing,
Yeah.
go out and smoke
Yeah.
a cigarette.
Oh no,
whatever you
no,
want to do.
I'm all for this. I like
I
that.
would love,
Yeah,
there's some
I'm all for
quiet
this.
spots in here. I wanted to get you guys a little bit of at least what this place looks like. So I put together a little video giving you a little of the history. And Laura, please get your pillow, Ann says. God bless
And
her.
if it's okay, I'll be talking through the video
Yeah,
to kind of
sure.
explain certain
You
rooms.
do it because
Yeah.
what I know I put in this video, I know nothing else. So you
Yeah.
go right ahead. You take the reins. Take the wheel, Donnie. Donnie, take
All
the
right,
wheel.
here we go. That messed up place. Oh wait, hold on. Can we pause it real quick?
Yep.
Real quick. In terms, okay, so it is very, if you look at it, right, Cisco, it's very similar to Hoover House in that, number one, they're both off.
1845, it looks like.
Yeah.
I was stopping it to see the thing. Okay, go ahead.
It's very similar to Hoover House in that, you know how Hoover House is off the main road of Waynesboro? It's like
yeah.
the main street.
Right.
Shanley Hotel's the exact same way. It's the same, like right off the main road. The parking lot of Hoover, you notice it's kind of like to the side and behind the building. Exact same thing, right?
Mhm.
Very similar style, very similar
Mhm.
layout. I would say Shanley's a little bit bigger though, because
Yeah,
if
it
you
looks
look
bigger.
if you look at the left, it's got
It's
this
freaking
like
huge.
extra wing to it.
Yeah, you're
That
gonna
wing
see
is
it.
what makes it bigger, because without
Yeah,
that
that's
wing,
the
it would be the same
bordello, isn't
size.
it? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
the
where the
bordello that
bordello
was
is.
built?
Yeah.
I think that's in here, so we'll put that through. I think it is bigger, but it's totally different. Even though it just shows you how different things can be.
The other
And
thing
again, I'm not dissing how people are doing this. I myself would feel very much like Tony did going in. I would have felt the same way. I would have just had a bad taste in my mouth about
Yeah.
it. And it's just not for any reason other than I can go to Walmart and feel this way.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So I have to be, but again, I can walk in the battlefield of Gettysburg and I'm fine. I walk in peace there, you know, as far as that goes. I still feel all the weight and all the electricity and everything else, but I feel like I'm not walking alone when I go there, because if I'm going there, my spirit guides know I'm going there, and their spirit guides know I'm going there, and they know I'm going somewhere for something. It always happens.
Yeah.
So here we go, babe. Yeah, I kept the music low, but there are a
Another
couple of
quick
historical
detail.
things.
I feel like I forgot to add from the earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This place is across the street from a federal penitentiary.
Okay.
So there's a lot of bad juju in that area. And so we asked the ladies who are running it, like, how many ghosts or spirits would you say are inside this building? And they said about 50. And they're like, but outside, like on the property, like outside, there's about 1,000.
They're going to be drawn to it.
So I'm like, yo, is this like Woodstock for ghosts or something? Holy crap, you know?
And Blue is saying that he's organizing international. I am absolutely for it, Blue. Anything I can do to help, let me know, sweetie. I'm absolutely for it. Steve is all over the place. I'm trying to get him. I just want to hug him, and you know, get him close to Jersey. But absolutely. And right now, the only thing I know of that where a lot of us are going to be is, like I said, the Gettysburg Bash. It's the 19th through the 22nd, I think, and it does. This place, the Wyndham Hotel, the courtyard's right next to it. Wyndham, I think, is filled up on their block. They got some more at the Days Inn, and they've got some at the courtyard, which is right there. But you walk in there, and because we're there, all the proceeds are going to terminally ill children and the wounded veterans in Pennsylvania, and they make sure all the money gets to you know where it's going. They're very particular. The berries are fantastic about this, and everybody that goes there, you can just feel this collective energy of you know, this. When you walk past somebody bad, they really stick out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the one I know about right now, that if you're close by, or you can do that with today's finances, absolutely head out that way, because you're going to make lifetime connections with people, and you're going to get to see everything you could want. So if you want, you know, the guy who talks to demons, you know, 24/7, you've got 7 of them there. You know, tables and whatever.
If you want to go to a place with demons, yo,
yeah,
highly recommend this place.
But that's what you could do. You know, there's something for everybody there. And then right in the same room, on the other end, is like, you know, a lady with so much light, you can feel the warmth coming from that, you know, from that air. It's just an amazing thing to do. So there you go. So let's play this and see what's up. It's got a little bit of the history.
I like that guy. That guy's cool.
Dark Woods. Hi, everybody. How you doing, sweetie? Welcome in. We're going to do some haunted Shanley hotel pictures, Dark. You came right in time.
Oh boy, yeah, this place was FUBAR.
Now that picture kind of looks.
The exterior looks really run down, but actually
Yeah.
the interior is very well kept and very pretty.
And it's in Napanoch, New York, right?
Yeah. See, inside it doesn't look all that different from Hoover House, right? That's the second floor. That's the habitable
style.
area.
It's the style.
That's where people
similar.
can sleep. Yep, you can sign that waiver. Okay, can you pause right here?
Yep. That's the 3rd floor, right?
This is the no man's land. This place apparently is so goddamn haunted that it's not fit for human habitation. So they have it sealed. It's a natural stairwell that leads to the 3rd floor, but they actually closed it like an attic door just to block access. Like, no one's allowed to stay there. And if you look at all the individual rooms, right, there are these tiny rooms.
Yeah.
The room on the right belonged to, apparently, according to them, and they actually have proof. So, you know, they have like all the documentation and history. That room on the right belonged to a serial killer who was responsible for 37 murders and was never caught. And
But
apparently,
see, to me, I'm like, why do you want to talk to? I wouldn't want to talk to a serial killer that was alive. Why do you? I don't want to understand. You know, I'm just saying. For me, it's hard for me to.
oh, it gets better.
Why do I want to go sit on a bed in a dark room with a whatchamacallit, talk to a serial killer? I'm not interested in anything that they have to say.
So
I don't. You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to be near that energy? That's just me. I'm not dissing it. I'm saying for me, Go ahead, Donnie. You want me to
So the
play
next
it?
room over, what belonged to a guy who worked as a hitman for the Irish Mafia, and apparently he had like a body count of like 100 people. That was the next room. This whole building was at one point a headquarters for the Irish Mafia. So that's one of the reasons why so much bad stuff happened there.
And downstairs in the gift shop, you can buy a pack of serial killer cards.
Yeah, and that's why they had the bordello going on for a long
Wow.
time.
Again, if you're into this kind of thing, it sounds like, yeah, this is a lot bigger than Hoover. Murder Incorporated, yep. That's
Yeah.
right, AJK. So this is just some pictures of people. This is the time it was built.
Yep.
This is what it looked like.
Oh, this
in
wasn't
that
the time
area.
it was built. It was the time it was bought by James Shanley,
Oh,
the guy the
you're
place
right,
is named
you're
after.
right. Because it was built 1845, right?
Yeah.
So this is more like,
It's
you
like
know.
19.
Yeah.
1910s,
You're right. You're right.
1920s.
I'm glad you're here, Donnie. Okay, this is, I believe the house burnt down in one time, and it's just some video of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, stuff that happened there. Boy, he looks tired, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, everyone looked tired back then. Jeez.
Yeah. Black and white makes you look
Yeah.
tired.
It doesn't
thought
look
it
like
was
the
really
1920s was a
interesting.
fun decade to be in.
Yeah, I think this is the, it
That was
may
like-
not, it wasn't, the first owners weren't named, Shanley, it was
No,
somebody else.
they weren't. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they had a barbershop in there.
Yup.
They
think
had a
in
bowling
1920.
alley. Thomas Edison and Eleanor Roosevelt both stayed there. Eleanor Roosevelt actually stayed there quite frequently.
Yes, she did.
Um,
I think it was their secret meeting place, but we won't talk
Yeah.
about that. Back then, you had to keep stuff quiet, if you catch my drift. Yeah, that's what I mean.
so
So this is the little girl Rosie, that was the daughter of the barber
Yep.
that fell in the well. Yeah, the Shanleys lost 3 children before their first birthdays. But again, that time, you know, it was one of those where a lot of kids, you know. I mean, I can't say it's cursed because of that. I could say that children died there, therefore that makes it a very unsettled land, you know, house. 1911, a hotel employee's daughter Rosie was killed when she fell into a nearby well. There's the well as it looked at the time, and there's Rosie. So that's just so sad to me. And then the 1918, Beatrice Shanley died. Her sister died of the flu there. It was the 20s, right in the beginning, that they put the bordello, and then came the prohibition, so it was like right on time, man. You know? Yep, that's right.
I don't remember when the Irish Mafia moved out there. I know James Shanley was an Irish immigrant, so he was connected with the Irish Mafia. That's what they don't say in the history.
Okay.
And the reason why the Irish Mafia, they got pushed out of New York City, and this town is right off the train tracks.
Right on.
And that was
yeah.
the biggest building in the town, so then naturally they took it over.
I don't understand the wallpaper. The wall, up and down. That's something they did back then.
Yeah. Glenn Dennison, it's in the Catskills. I'm not sure where Woodstock is in relation to that.
And this is Sal Nicosia. He bought it in 2015. Yeah. He didn't know it was haunted. How could you not? I think any place that's at is going to have something going on. Yeah, 35 rooms. That's big. That's pretty big, Donnie.
Yeah.
I can't imagine these poor ladies trying to keep this going. God bless them. I mean, you're going to have to go with everything you can.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
This place. And
this
is the least scary part of the house. Look at this. This is the least scary part of the house.
This is the one I was talking about, the morning woman that probably got, you know, jumped on Laura or whatever. Emma the cook, that's probably where they're getting the smells of. She's manifesting the cooking smells. Now, is this the 3rd floor as well, Donnie?
That I believe is the 3rd floor. Yeah, it looks like a crime scene. It's not. There's no gas or heat or electricity. The windows are blocked off. There's no furniture except like
Well,
stuff
gosh,
people
to
use for
maintain something the
investigations.
size of this has got to be
That's the
astronomical.
bordello. That is actually where Laura was supposed to stay.
Oh, great. And they don't allow Ouija boards.
Oh no.
You can have
Ouija
a
boards
demon
are
in a box, but
actually,
you get...
Cisco. Real quick,
Yeah,
that
okay.
statement is inaccurate. That place had so many goddamn Ouija boards. I've never seen one
Really?
place have so many Ouija
They've
boards. There was
got it
like
right
one,
on their website.
they were like there was like one in every corner. What they say is the Ouija boards are not allowed because we already have 1 million of them.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't understand that because I was saying...
I was like, I've never seen
know.
so many Ouija boards just lying around everywhere.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
the one room at the end on the 3rd floor actually had the floor painted into a giant Ouija board.
And again, it's what you do with it and what and how you use it.
Yeah.
But that's funny. Well, this is just the sign here in the front.
Yeah.
And nice, I love the porch. I've always loved the wraparound porches.
It was very
reminiscent
reminiscent of Hoover's, actually. That porch was like what really reminded me of it.
Similar style. And there it
Yeah.
is on the map, if that helps. If that helps you guys.
Yeah, it gets raided,
Yep.
and then James Shanley gets in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But he's buddies with Roosevelt, so he ain't
Yeah.
seeing any jail time.
Yeah.
And
Legs Diamond.
that's where I slept. And then Tony was
Wow.
in the next bed.
Yeah? Legs Diamond. I don't know, hon. I'll have to look into that. And this is some of the brighter...
That's the brothel. That's
Yeah.
where Laura's
Oh.
supposed to stay. That room was where Laura's supposed to stay.
Oh, great. As pretty
Yeah.
as she is, staying in the brothel, that's all you need is a ghost hitman coming in there thinking
Yeah.
she's a prostitute. That's lovely.
No, the problem with the brothel wasn't the women there. It was the bodyguard, Frank. He was
Uh-huh.
like the guy who would keep all the Johns in line. And he would stand outside the doors, and he was the one that was haunting. Okay, wait, pause it real quick.
Yep.
Wait, can you go? Oh,
Yep, I'll go back. What do you want to see? The basement and the two
yeah,
chairs?
the basement.
Right about there. Okay.
The basement was pretty messed up. Okay, so
bet.
the floors are all dirt. The ceiling is all dirt, right? You see that big black
The ceiling
furnace?
is dirt?
Yeah.
How's that possible?
I don't know. I'm just like, am I in a cave or in a basement right now?
Wow. Okay.
So you know that black thing? On the other side of that black thing,
Mhm.
in the corner of that room, is this like little hill of rocks, and apparently
Oh.
that's where they would dump the babies.
That's what
And
Tony was saying.
and Jack, Tony's brother, is in the red chair. I'm in that yellow chair, and we both look at the corner, and we just kind of just scooch our chairs away from that direction, and I'm just like, wow, how is one place so messed up, right? To
Yeah.
our right, to the right of that picture is like this long empty room. Again, same way, all dirt, and there's just nothing but one chair in there. And I'm like, what's this room for? And they were basically like, oh, that's where they would stack the bodies during the Spanish flu, because the place was like the only place, was the biggest place in that town, and a bunch of people were dying during the Spanish flu,
God.
so they
help
didn't
us,
have
yeah.
a natural morgue, so they stuffed them all in there. And
Similar
I was-
Civil War stuff. I mean, but you can't. You know what I'm saying? The souls that are walking around here, I just don't.
Are you
don't
talking-
know how you
what's
can
up, Laura?
and not try
Is
to
that-
help. Yeah, go ahead.
The Shanley basement, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
that's the
Yeah.
basement. That's where Jack and I were sitting.
When I
And,
watched, I didn't go down there, but when I watched that on YouTube on the Josh video, I got sick to my stomach just watching it.
That place is bad, Cisco.
I like
That place
some more
is bad.
sage.
And apparently, there's a thing known as the creeper that apparently
Oh,
haunts
geez.
the basement as well. And it's basically a spider-like shadow person with red eyes. So I'm like to Tracy,
Which
yo,
is-
this thing got red eyes? And she's like, oh, don't worry about the red eyes. It's when you see the yellow eyes, you gotta worry. I'm like,
This
what?
is the thing.
That
That
that's
spider manifesting dark shadow thing.
Yeah.
That's more than likely the collective energy, a negative energy of everybody who's gone through here and manifest. I can't explain it like some people that are, that taught me about this, but it's actually a thing. Like, and your energy, especially negative anger, fighting, things like that. You see it on battlefields. I think that green eyes thing over in Chickamauga River. Am I saying that right, guys? The green eyes monster. I think that's one of them That's something that's manifested, and it hangs around negative places like battlefields and people suffering, because that's how it's fed. And they actually become its own separate entity. It's an amazing energy. Is an amazing thing.
Like a PK manifestation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of people are talking about, oh man, the basement sounds bad. Yo, the basement was bad, but it was nothing compared to the third floor. That was next level bad.
Thank you, AJK. I don't understand what I'm saying, but
Yeah, Agent K doesn't
The
like
tub
looking
is
at the
creepy.
pictures. Neither does Laura.
I'm not on fire. I'm lighting sage, guys. It's okay.
Yeah, that's the third floor in the daylight. Look at that. It's just empty with random crap. There's no wallpaper. The walls are pulling apart.
Well, yeah, like I can imagine how
It looks like a crime scene.
these poor ladies are struggling with
And,
this. Okay, this
no,
was a little photograph of a boy in a window.
That's the third floor.
Yeah, they think it's a 5-year-old boy. Well, how are they leaving these kids in here with all these other entities? See, we'd be in there crossing them, Laura.
Well, so Cisco, what brings me back to before is that I heard that little girl was, and even the Tracy, I think it was, I heard her telling Tony that the little girl was molested and murdered and threw in the well. She didn't just fall in the well. And
that
then
makes sense.
there's speculation that her father did it,
Oh, jeez.
allegedly.
Chat, what does that draw? When there is abuse, what have we learned? When there's abuse and fighting in a family and things like that, it's unfortunate. I don't know who writes the rules for this, but when a child, especially by somebody they trusted, any kind of abuse, that kind of mental damage that kind of thing causes in a family, it draws what? Demonic presence.
Well, I even stood outside the parking lot and I said, all this bad shit is drawing in more bad shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like just like Hoover is a magnet for the light, because they've struggled so hard to keep it that way, and now the spirits are all clicked in and they're trying to keep it that way. You know how sharp and fast they are, because they'll know you're going before you get there, and they've got your grandmother or your grandfather or whoever, and they're trying to get through, and it's amazing how they do it. And to me, that's such a beautiful experience compared to the actual opposite. Yep, AJ's got it.
And don't forget, there's a federal penitentiary across the street.
Yep.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
You were
Amityville
right.
don't got shit
I'm
on
so
this place.
sorry. I mean, she lost her money she put into this and everything. This was a big deal, guys. This was a big deal. And in today's economy, I'm telling her, you got to go to Airbnb. I was even hesitant to say to link up with the laptops because of the electricity. You know what I'm saying? That's why I told you to not do it live.
Laura, do you want to mention a little bit about how freaking beautiful the place you wound up staying at was? Because it was like the exact opposite of this place.
It was. So I went on to Airbnb and I found the town we were in, and the very first place, I was like, okay. I clicked on the first place and I was like, scrolled through to make sure it wasn't like sketchy. I'm like, looks pretty good, and messaged her and got back. And then Tony and Donny dropped me off at the Airbnb, and they walk in and they're like, holy shit. And I'm like, we're all just sitting there staring at this place. It is bright, it's beautiful, pretty colors, flowers, decorated. It's just light and love, and it's the exact opposite of the Shanley Hotel. And I was like,
puppies and kittens walking around. I was like, holy hell, this is the exact opposite of where we were just at.
So cool. Here's something important, I think, that Darkwoods is saying I want to share with everybody. Firsthand, in the family abuse, seeing the demon responsible and showed me my family's fate, which came true, hence my name, Darkwoods. Thank you for sharing that, Darkwoods. This is, and I'm sorry that happened, and you sound like you've rose above it. So that's the thing, though. I get it, but I don't get it. I get the negative, and of course. So just like the things that go over battlefields or hospitals or whatever, the suffering, and I've told you on battlefields that when we're trying to cross there are things there that don't want you to do it and will fight you. So that's why I was so glad I had planned with many other people that are like very wonderful mediums that you would know the names if I said them. We were getting together to go in there to try to hold back the evil entities that were holding back these kids and get them out. And it was so great that Jim and I believe Pam and Steve over there at the Hoover, they went into Gettysburg and they were able to, either on purpose or not, I don't want to say, got several of those kids to come with them. And they're still there at the Hoover. They're leaving one by one as they're ready, as they get the calmness about them. And they had their first Christmas tree. They had their own Christmas tree there at the Hoover and everything else. These are the difference. There's a difference here. And again, I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm saying this one's not for me, you know. And you should know about a place before you go. Now, if you are of the mind that you want to go investigate these things, again, this is the place for you if you're into that whole ghost adventures kind of feel. But again, plan for it because you might get hit. You know, you just don't realize that when you're doing with the paranormal. And quite honestly, things can and will follow you. There's
don't worry, guys. I think that's actually the first frame of an animation. So.
Oh no, this is.
Oh no, that's an animation.
This is Cisco fun. No, this isn't real.
That's Cisco having fun.
This is Cisco fun. I gotta throw something in there for you guys.
Yeah.
I think she's wonderful.
She's kind of pretty, actually.
Yeah, she is. She's a looker.
Yeah, I remember when they brought me up to the.
I love the stairs. I gotta say, I love the stairs. Go ahead.
That's actually the first thing you see when you walk in the front door.
This lady?
That stairwell and that red door. As soon as you walk in, that's
yeah.
The front door leads to that. And I remember the lady was showing me to the bordello, and I was getting like the next room to Laura's, which was Maddie's room. Oh yeah, by the way, that guy.
Which guy? Which guy?
He's the one.
The happy guy in the middle and knows he's gonna get.
No, he's the guy with with his arm around the lady.
Which guy?
Oh, okay.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. The one next to the lady.
Okay, got it.
That guy was the bodyguard of the bordello.
So he was the one he's still haunting?
He's still haunting that place. What wound up happening to him was that he got caught stealing from his mobster boss. Like he was kind of shaving a little money off on the side. So they
that's not good.
So they apparently just took him down to the basement and they just put one in his head. So that's where. And he is the spirit that haunts like where Laura and I were supposed to sleep.
See, I got, like I said, I can go to Walmart and get this. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There were a bunch of like Irish gangsters.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was fun to kind of see it was probably the place to go. I mean, a lot of these big hotels especially in the Catskills and stuff,
Apparently it was like the center of town. Like everyone, like that was the town hall. That was the bar.
I think that's Rosie, isn't it?
Yes,
I think that's Rosie.
Girl.
Yeah.
See, that's what pisses me off when we had lunch the next day across the table. I was talking to Jen. I'm like, I don't give a shit about the serial killers that are still there, all the murderers and everything, but like that little girl's still there. I'm like, why doesn't anybody go in there and cross her? I was like, that's bullshit. Like,
amen, baby.
It makes me so mad.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's where I'm at. It's some of my favorite mediums and psychics, and again, I'll never tell you who they are that tell me these things because they tell me in confidence, and that means the world to me. There are, I'm getting old and I don't have a lot. What I do have is, my honor and my word and, respect for other people. I plan on keeping all three. But they go in and they go, well, we want you to walk through and do these things, but we don't want you to. How many times did you guys expect me when everybody was saying, when Tony was saying and Chisholm was saying, she talks to them like pets. Ghosts aren't pets. Ghosts are not pets. They are people.
Yeah, like I said,
if it was you or your child or a loved one, My God. You
Yep.
know? Okay.
She talks to ghosts the same way I talk to like my video game characters when I play video
Right.
games.
And again, I'm not downplaying. My heart goes out to the people that bought this. It's a huge undertaking. If you look at your business, any business that you have, whether it's, you're selling suits and ties, you're a tailor or whatever, you're going to have to put out what's selling, what's going to make the money. Because you have to pay the rent and the taxes and the fix up and the renovation. It must be astronomical. This is in New York, right? So I'm not faulting anybody for doing this, because you know why? There's a huge market.
There is a market.
That's the part that gets me. That we're still at that spot, and that pendulum is way up here now. It's what comes next,
Yeah.
Demons in a box, and then what? This is what I'm saying. Yeah, cross that little girl over. Hope she is. Yeah, true, Ann. And Ann's got it right, too. It's like you don't even know what you're looking at, because at this point, could be anything. And I don't know who these people are, but they had it up a couple of times, so I thought it might have been something important. And
I think those were the
everywhere.
original owners, actually. And that's one of the things that really impressed me about those two ladies in the house is they had all the documentation. They had like scrapbooks with all the newspaper clippings, all the death records. They backed it up. Like when they were talking about the serial killer, I went back downstairs and I was like, show me the actual articles.
Donny's a researcher. Yep.
And I respect their careful attention to history. Like they actually got the police sketch of the guy.
Yeah.
Apparently they made contact with the serial killer. They found out how he eventually died because he never got caught.
Yeah.
He eventually wound up getting killed by bikers, apparently.
Bikers don't put up with a lot of crap.
Yeah.
I'm not going. Enjoy, guys. I thought you guys would enjoy a little bit of the scenery, the inside, the history, and hi Jeanette, hi sweetheart, welcome in. So that's it. That's your Shanley, and that's pretty much it. Now there was one thing. Yeah. You can say anything you want, but I want to show this one last thing. I found a really treat for you, Laura. You're gonna love it. I kept hearing about the ghost cat, and I'm thinking, what self-respecting cat would be hanging out in a place?
I forgot about this. I forgot about this.
But this is cool. I found this little clip for you guys, and that's kind of the last thing I got other than Donnie's pictures and slides here. But I thought this was really interesting, and you get to hear from a past owner as well. And again, anybody takes on a place like this, I have the utmost respect for wanting to restore history. I'm all about it. I'm all about all of that. And I just did almost 3 hours of free advertisement for the place. I'm not downplaying it. I'm saying if this is your gig,
I'd recommend it.
Here you go.
I recommend it. If that's what you're looking for, if you want to do a paranormal investigation in a
place
fucked up haunted house, if that's what you want, go to the Shanley Hotel, baby.
Yeah. What did you want to call it? Foobar.
It's Foobar.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go to a Foobar place, if you
I
want
had
to
a
make
cat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know
this place makes Sally House look tame. It's like that.
Yeah.
Like if you just want to get the craziest experience with the best gear, by the way, that's another thing that we didn't mention. They had so much gear there. Like every room was geared up. There were just like spirit boxes and K2 meters just all over the place, So if you want to do that and have like one of the craziest paranormal investigations, go for it. Sign up for Shanley Hotel.
Hey, Big Willie. Welcome in. Stay curious and keep it weird. Amen.
The man with the greatest beard.
Peace and love and taco grease, everyone. Back at you, baby. Everybody toss him some bacon. Get some bacon up there. All right,
like
this
Big
is
Willie.
a
He's like a real life Viking.
Nice. This is a real quick one about the little ghost kitty, and I thought it was adorable, and I wanted to kind of move toward a little bit more light toward the end. So
but see, that makes me even more sad. There's little kids and animals stuck there.
But I'm going to say this. It is my belief at this time that animals don't get stuck. If they're there, they're choosing to be there. They pop in and out. They don't have the same restraints If you see what I'm saying, if they're there, they're attracted to something there that they're coming back for. I don't
Or
think
it
they're
could,
stuck. Animals, I don't
or
think get stuck.
or it could be something else that's taking the form of a cat.
Yes, it could be. Let's
It
see
could be
what we
that
got.
too.
True.
Thanks for the bacon, guys. You guys rock.
I had a cat for close to 13, 14 years. And when I had lived in the other house, I used to let the cat out at night, and the cat would come back during the day. But when I moved into the hotel, the cat refused to go out. And I couldn't get the cat to come into my apartment. For some reason, the cat wouldn't come into that room. And the minute I bring it into the room, she'd take right out the door. So I started feeding her outside in the hallway. And she would roam the building. Then after a while, she started going up to the 3rd floor. And she would come down to the 2nd floor, she would eat, and she'd go back up to the 3rd floor. Then after a couple of months, she refused to come down off the 3rd floor. And she would stay in Claire's room. And we picked up an EVP one night of Claire saying that it was her cat.
What?
Look. See him?
Yep, I see him.
There he is again. See that little exclamation point tail going on?
God.
Look at him. Boop.
Yeah, that
Going
might be
right
something
into
else.
going right into the room. How about that? Ain't that something? So, I know that there's a lot of things about, color, like figure burn. I forget what you call it on CCTV and stuff like that. And it could leave some kind of, a trace. But then again, if it was that, you'd see people too in a lot of things. So, yeah, cats ain't stupid. I just thought that was cool because I honestly feel that animals don't get stuck, so I don't see it the same way. I see
no.
it that it was, there was some reason it was there, or maybe it came back just to repeat something it did all the time. Who knows? This man seemed to care about the cat, so I'm sure that the cat's probably with him at this point. But has he passed? Did he pass when he sold, or he just sold and got out of there? Do you know?
No, I think he passed away.
Okay, because
Yeah.
like I said, I think the cat's more than likely with him or Claire. Now, who was Claire?
No idea.
Claire's room. I don't know who that is. Okay, but
think
I didn't
somebody
even make it
passed
up there.
I think it's one of the little kids that died. Maybe. I can't.
It could be.
It wasn't Rosie, but it might have been another one or whatever. But if they got an EVP that's her cat, that could be why the cat was going in there, because cats can see spirits and stuff like that. This is when the cat was alive. So, yeah, cats
can
still do see
honestly-
the afterlife. Yep.
I can honestly say that was probably the most evil building I've ever been in my entire life.
Wow.
And there I am eating pizza.
Evil pizza.
But that pizza was real good. Remember, Laura? You were,
It was
outside-
good. It was
Remember,
good,
like
yeah.
when you were like outside and you were
It was good.
emotional and in tears, and I went in and grabbed your bag, and I brought out the pizza, right? And you're
Oh,
like,
that was nice.
can you get me a slice too? And I'm like, okay, cool. So I go and grab your slice, and then you ask for a Coke, so I grabbed a soda. and
No, he
then,
comes
like-
back with Diet
And
Pepsi.
then I come back with Diet Pepsi, right?
Oh,
But then like you take a bite of the pizza, and you're like, oh, this pizza's actually pretty good, but this is Diet Pepsi. I asked for a Coke, and I'm like, damn it, woman, you were gonna make me go back into this demon-infested house
you slept there,
for a
Donny.
Yeah.
Coke that I didn't even realize was
Darkwoods make a
there.
good point here, man. Wonder if the cat is seen from an adjacent dimension, like dimension is thin there. Could very well be.
You know what? Now that you mentioned that, Darkwoods, I gotta
be.
say this:
Interesting.
when we going up into the 3rd floor, it feels like you're walking into another dimension. It really
Yeah.
does. Like
And
the
it could
upside
at this
down.
point,
It feels
you
like
know?
you're just, oh, I'm in a new dimension now. This is a different place.
Yeah.
The 3rd floor belonged to them. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
We were
But
just
my gosh, can
there.
you think about, what that costs, what they're putting into it, taxes and everything else? I mean,
No, that
just
lady's.
the Renovate paint. I mean, has anybody seen what a gallon of, Bear's paint
Look at
costs
how
now?
run down that building is. It needs so much work. There were so many rooms that were like half renovated. And like, they're struggling. So I don't
If
begrudge
they
them for
love
trying
it that
to.
much, they're going to pull it
Yeah,
together.
there I am. I'm sitting up there. That's Tony and his brother sitting next to me, and those are the K2 meters. And to the right, where behind that blue door is that morgue room where they stacked all the bodies, and to our left is the where they put all the babies. And freaking place, man.
That's funny. Yep. We used to do the can opener froze if we didn't know where the cats were. We pushed the button on the electric can opener. People don't use a lot of electric can openers anymore, do they? Was that just like a 70s, 80s thing?
I don't know. I have one, and I think it's weird when people don't have an electric can opener.
Well, I've never used an electric can opener in my entire life. I've like never even seen one.
Wow. I got a little hand one now. That's kind of... I remember having them 70s and 80s, but I don't think I ever continued the thing. That was like in other people's houses and stuff. That's weird. I even think about that, right? Yeah. But that's I don't know. I mean, I've been in a lot of dark basements, but I mean, I've walked down into dark basements, and Dave can tell you this, where Marines and hardcore military guys were coming out of, and I was going down into it with, you know, but I didn't feel like the pictures of this thing makes me feel. I can't explain it.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
There I am. So when we were sitting there, they had all these different types of cameras set up. They had like the night vision one. They had like the thermal camera, and on the thermal camera, we definitely caught like a lot of shadow figures moving around. And there was one shadow figure that was all up on Tony. They caught another shadow figure that was right off my shoulder. Another shadow figure on Jack's side, and I felt like little tingles on my head and my shoulders to like be like, yo, is something touching me right now? And they're like, yo, we see a shadow figure right there, and I'm like, dude, back off.
I totally agree, Dark.
Yeah,
I agree.
That reminds me when we went down in what they call to the gentleman's room after, like, that's basically
yeah.
When I was sitting down in those chairs before I went outside with Donny, I was feeling like it felt like bugs were like landing on my ankles. And it just like, and then I wiped my legs like 2 or 3 times because I felt like something was like landing on me and like little gnats, but there was nothing there. And I mean, that could have been my imagination, but...
Yeah, it's almost like that. A lot of times people describe it as almost a spiderwebby feeling. Like,
it wasn't that though, because I've had that before.
Yeah,
I've had that feeling before. Yeah, man, it's
yes,
I remember.
I
remember when I walked into the gentleman's room for the first time. I'll tell you one weird experience I did have. So before Laura, you and I sat in those love seats. When we walked into that room, the first thing I immediately noticed, this weird pain on my left ring finger, like right here, where it was like, it wasn't intense, but it was like a slight pain, but the pain was in the bone. So I remember just looking down at my hand, and I'm like, yo, this is a new experience. I've never felt this before.
Yeah. That's weird. Well, overall, the number one thing that I got from this is, like I've said before, the difference. What a difference for both of you to have experienced a place like Hoover and then coming here right after. So it was almost like you went from the light into the dark.
It was like night and day. It's like night and day.
And it's not, it's not the people running it. I mean, of course, you can encourage it or you can discourage it. But if you've got a place that's like that, I think you'd probably have to have a really powerful team go through there and just cleanse it from the outside property through, and just cross everything it wants to cross, and just get rid of and banish and everything else. But it's like the mediums I told you about who go into these places and they say, well, we want you to investigate, but we want you to cross anybody. Let me tell you something, they do. They do anyway, because no medium or psychic medium or trance medium or any of that understands what's going on would leave a ghost behind that wants help and wants to cross. Plain and simple. A lot of them take them home with them and then go through the therapy of trying to understand what's going and then cross them. But I can't imagine. I mean, walking into this would be like, you felt it, Laura. I mean, it would be like what an undertaking.
Yeah,
and I don't know how you could live there and not be affected. I mean, I think that's freaking impossible.
She said, that woman said, she's like, sometimes I have to just go outside and clear it off, because she's like, it comes in waves, and I'm just like, how? Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't have words. I don't understand it.
I can't imagine.
You know what else she said? Actually, so when I was talking to her, I was like, because that Tracy lady, she stays there, right? Like she stays there. Like 7 days a week, but like every weekday, she'll stay there, you know, for 2 or 3 days at a time, right? And I'm like, so what do you do when you're by yourself? And she told me, I like to do one-person paranormal investigations. Like she'll go to the third floor in the basement and turn off the lights and do investigations by herself. And I'm like,
Yeah.
good God.
Well, again, for me, I am of the mind of Amy Allen when she went into the Lizzie Borden house. Right away, she knew there was a Ouija board behind the couch that they hid.
Yeah.
You know, that part was real. I've talked to her about this. And it was an amazing investigation because she's getting this split personality of Lizzie Borden, where she's got that angry, erratic, you know, thing going on, and then another one who was more sullen and more ashamed. And I'm not saying she did it, I'm saying this is what Amy felt, and it was almost like the energy split. And the whole problem in that house was that the spirits were sick and tired of being called forward. Like some of them had crossed and being called back. So again, this is really
You know, I'd be mad annoyed if I was like,
certain paranormal
yeah.
investigation can honestly be harassment.
yeah.
That's a place that just turns my stomach, and I
Yeah.
have no interest in stepping foot in there.
Yeah.
Well, I remember they were actually very strict about anyone provoking them in an aggressive stance. Their attitude was treat them with respect, and that's one of the things that they
Good.
often talked about.
Good.
But their problem was not that they were provoking it, it was the opposite. They were trying too hard to be friends with them.
Well,
Yeah.
here's my thing. Why are you trying to be friends with a serial killer and a hitman? You know, I've known... I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm just saying that some people are just, you know... But the energy that you've got on that, right? I mean... I just, you know, again, I've dealt with a lot of cases and nowhere near the amount of some of the people that, you know, I consult with, because I always do. But the devastation I have seen put on families and people and individuals, and I'm sorry, guys, but I can tell you that there have been people that have died in their sleep, have absolutely, entities can harm you. This whole thing, a ghost can't hurt you. They can make you hurt yourself.
Oh, bullshit.
I think that is a huge bunch of bullshit. You know, it depends on the ghost.
No,
and it depends
ghosts
on the
can
person.
like cause like terminal illnesses
Yes.
and heart attacks.
Yes,
So
and
be
just a
careful
total
with that
drain
stuff.
on your energy.
Yeah.
Even if that's all it is, just the total constant drain on your energy, you don't have any left. It's like being constantly pregnant and you're not nourishing yourself because you don't even know you're fighting against it. Because if you're in this, it's like Bill will say, the first thing is the oppression, and then it starts making you crazy and separating you from other people, and the next thing is like the total, you know, and that can be a bad human spirit. It doesn't have to be all this other stuff. Not that
Yeah.
stuff doesn't exist, but this is what you know, like we said in the beginning, you're playing with fire. I myself won't be going. I pray for the people that have that, because I can understand the draw. I can understand wanting to save a historical, you know, a historical building. I'm all for it. And the history, and I respect the work and the life that's gone into this. I just hope it doesn't get bad, you know. But usually these things do. It's just a matter of time, you know.
Yeah, definitely for sure. If you're like somewhat sensitive or empathic, Laura, I mean, you can attest to this, right? Just don't go.
I never, and I'm going to tell you right now, I've
No,
been in
don't
this for a
go.
long time, never heard of a dark entity. But again, I'm not saying don't go. I'm saying if
Did
this
you
is
mean-
your thing, go.
Did
know
you
what
mean
I'm
to
saying?
say dark empath is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying never heard of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've heard of
'cause
them.
you said entity, I wasn't
I've heard of
sure.
it. Actually, I have heard of a dark empath, but I've heard of it in psychological terms.
Okay. Okay. Because it just sounds like to me it's an empath. Okay, I have to bring Bowden in here to explain this better than me. But empath is basically just picking up feelings, you know, and of the world, animals, nature, The world going through strife, a weather coming, very much like animals do, like they know a tornado and stuff's coming. But you also absorb all the energy around you, other people's feelings and everything else. So the main thing about an empath is to make sure that you know what your baseline reading is. So like, this isn't me. This is something else. And you walked right into it at a vulnerable time. And that's why when I was in the shower, I jumped out and I said, look, they're warning me here. I have to help, And that's why I told you both. And I wasn't getting it clear of don't go. You know what I mean? I didn't even know where you at the time where you were going. I wasn't putting it together. I was just saying you guys are going to do something because you told me you were going on a weekend. You had a thing. That's all I had. And I was being shown Laura shouldn't go in there because she's been sick and she's vulnerable and it's going to hit her hard. And I was just trying to warn you guys to put down protection and keep your guard up because it was coming in on me strong. And, maybe it happened the way it was supposed to happen so you can see the difference. And maybe it's something to help you, Laura. You know how much better you felt when you were in a good environment. So maybe that's telling you, I know you're in a great situation, around you got beautiful scenery and everything else, but
Yeah,
maybe get out and walk barefoot in the ground into the earth a little bit, do some of that, the earthing.
I mean, I'm barefoot 24/7 if I don't have
Good.
to be wearing shoes, but like I'm always outside barefoot. But now that you worded it that way, I don't regret walking in there. It's
Right.
just I know that I never would want to go back, but the way you worded it is like now I really really truly have seen and felt like real darkness. And now I know it's like when you see it, and if you see it again, you're going to recognize it even more. So it's a good thing
good
because you
learning
can
experience.
avoid it.
Yeah, that's like I said. Like we take that negative, we turn it into a positive. You have learned a lesson that a lot of people don't learn.
Speaking of turning
really.
negatives into positive, can I just address one quick thing in the chat real quick?
Sure.
Yes, they're selling the paranormal experience, but I also want to reiterate that these ladies do deserve some respect and sympathy
Yeah, that's
because
what
the
I'm
owner
saying.
dumped her entire life savings into this,
Yeah.
and if she doesn't sell the entire paranormal thing, then she doesn't keep her head above water.
Right. And like I
So
said, it's the same
I don't
as
begrudge
having
them.
a
I don't
business.
begrudge them for
Right.
trying to make money. I mean, you got to do what you got to do nowadays to survive, right?
The thing that disappoints me is that there's a market. You know what I mean? And it's the market
Yeah.
because we don't understand, and it's the market because of the way the paranormal shows have gone. We started like we've talked at nauseum about here on the show, where you've seen it escalate, but you've also seen movies escalate. You've seen TV shows escalate. You've seen music escalate. You've seen how people act on the streets and treat each other escalate. So we're getting to that crescendo part where zombies selling, blowing heads off. I grew up, Andy Griffith was afraid to say certain things and was very careful about what he put on a show, and there was always a moral, and it's so different. So what we have to do is continue that as whatever you want to call yourself. If you're a light bearer, if you're not any of those things, that's fine. If you're just trying to figure it all out, that's what we're all trying to do. But if you do consider yourself a light worker, all you have to do to be a light worker is keep your light burning. And when you see something like this, you can't do much about it. It's going to continue. It's going to be what it's going to be. People are still going to go into asylums and prisons and all this, and that's fine. I'm saying if you're sick or infirmed, or you have an intuition about maybe I shouldn't do this, maybe you should listen to that, because Laura got out, unfortunately, easy compared to having something follow you home and take over your life.
I mean, it wasn't even a question for me though either. Like I just felt it. I just knew I
Good.
could not be there, stay there. And then it's like, and then I talked to you and you're like, listen to me, do not go back in that house. And there was a split second where I was like, oh, maybe I'll just suck it up and do it. And then I'm like, no, not doing it. And I was never more happy that I just was like, listen to you, listen to my gut, and
I'm so
yeah.
glad. I'm so glad. And I just wanted to say, I know you lost money on that, but I think you got a really valuable
Yeah.
lesson that you can share with your listeners on your podcast. And, you can share that you've been there and you've had that experience. We all go through these things, like Tony was saying too. I want to reach out and I want to put positive out in the world, and I want to show things to people. I don't like to do a lot of dark shows. If you notice something, I don't have bleeding skulls and stuff like that. If I have a cool black skull doing this or something, it's fine. But then I have a cute kitty walking by, because there is good and bad, and there's a good and bad in all of us. We've all had our moments, but if you're going to get on that elevator and you get a feeling in your busy day that says, wait, stop, don't do this, don't do it. Listen to your intuition, because every time you do that, your intuition gets stronger. You're flexing that muscle, and you're exercising that, and it's going to get stronger for you when you start to listen to these things. Am I right, Aunt Edna?
I've learned
I know
that,
you go
yeah.
through the same thing, So this is it. This show tonight was a very valuable information. We had a lot of things. It was great having Tony on, great having Chisholm on. Thank you, Chisholm. If you're still listening out there, honey, you can pop in and out of here all you want.
We gotta get that guy back. He's a natural. I thought it's good to have a skeptical point of view. I like that guy.
So glad having him on here,
Yeah.
and I hope to see you again. I know I think you said Kentucky.
He's in Kansas.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Okay. Kansas. Well, I got the K right. So, maybe there's other places we can all meet up, but we're friends now. You're welcome on the show anytime. I'd love to have people, very much like Lincoln. It was his death, though. He loved to have people around him that disagreed, so he could debate and understand, because he wanted everybody's point of view.
Also, Chisholm knows his stuff. He's like an engineer, so he knows technology. He knows technology.
Input.
Yeah.
I really loved his input.
He's a really smart guy. I respect that guy.
Yeah, and I love that we're growing this family and learning along with each other. And and Aunt Edna's saying she's proud of you, baby.
Cisco, can I just add my final thoughts on?
You go right ahead. Final thoughts, everybody.
On Shanley before we close for tonight.
Yes, absolutely.
I am so glad I went there. And I had a blast.
I'm so
glad.
I
had such a good time.
I'm glad.
I feel like I learned something about myself, and I learned something about the paranormal. I got some perspective.
Yep.
I got to hang out with friends.
Nice.
I did feel terrible about what happened with Laura, but then the rest of the evening was just fun and cool. And I wasn't all that scared, because I guess I was more focused on the history and
it's very interesting.
learning about the stories. So I was so focused on that I even think to get creeped out. When I was up there on the third floor, it looked creepy, and I was like, yo, this is another dimension. But I'm I was more fascinated at how dark and twisted a place could be. I was in awe the whole time. So and the other reason why I'm grateful,
you also went in with a different persona, a
I had
different body, a different physicality. You know what I'm saying? Your energy. And the only reason this hit her so bad is because she's been sick for a while, and that was the danger thing.
Yeah.
Because it's just so, and that's a lesson for everybody. If you're, they'll tell you in a paranormal investigation, if you're feeling sick, or, in some cases, if you're a lady in just that time of your moon and all that stuff, there's certain places you shouldn't go, you shouldn't do. Everything has action reaction with energy. Go ahead. Final thoughts, Laura?
I need to get off of here and go to bed, because I'm
to bed. Good night,
in pain.
Good night,
Right.
baby. We love you.
Thank you
glad to
for
see
having
your
me
beautiful
on.
smiling face, and I'm so glad
No,
everything
you
worked
lasted
out.
way longer than your
Yeah.
original
Yeah, I
plan
don't
you
even
were
know
going to.
how
How-
I'm still
Yeah,
sitting here,
how-
because I'm
Go
Yeah.
to bed, darling. Go
Go
to
to
bed.
bed.
We love you. Listen, guys, we're all going to get out of here. Thank you so much. Thank you again
Ooh,
to
this
Tony
was a
and
fun
to
one tonight.
Chisholm. Please watch, Tony Merkel's great podcast. Get in there, subscribe.
The Confessionals.
Where do you find it? Donny?
Anywhere
Is it
you
on
can
the
get it's like
podcatchers?
anywhere you can find a podcast, you just
Okay.
search, look up the Confessionals.
Okay, because I know
It'll
he's
be
not
right
on
up
YouTube,
there.
right? He's not on YouTube.
He doesn't do YouTube stuff very much.
Okay.
just, I mean, you know how to get podcast people. Come on.
Yep, there you go.
Anywhere you go
So go
on your
look for that.
podcast app, just search the confessionals, and he's right
Yep.
up on there.
There you go. We appreciate his time, and Laura for coming in here. She wasn't feeling good, and she did this for us, and we love her. That's what this family is. We're trying to
Yeah,
help
she
everybody.
was a little-
I hope
ooh.
everybody caught Steve and why am I blanking?
Steve and Sandy?
Thank you. I was saying Sally. I'm like, where's that
Yeah.
coming from? Steve and Sandy's new show. They're doing great things out there. They're out in America, experiencing Americana and getting stories. It's going to be fabulous. I absolutely just love their ideas and the things that they're doing, and it's absolutely wonderful. We'll have Steve on tomorrow night. I have no idea what we're doing. I was focused on this, but we'll have fun. You know, because all you got to do is just push our buttons and we have a good show. So there you go. I love you all for being here. Thank you so much. And you guys and my gatekeepers are absolutely fantastic. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something from it. You know, learn a little bit about what's out there. And, you know, like I said, I don't do a lot of shows that are really focused on the dark. But we brought a lot
You
of
got to
light
know
to
this
it.
stuff is out there. You
Yeah.
know, you got to
Yeah, I
know
think
that
we
a place
brought
like
some
this
light to
exists.
it.
That was another
Yeah.
lesson I learned. I learned that places. Oh, so this is what a FUBAR place is like.
FUBAR, baby.
Yeah, that place was FUBAR.
But again, like Donny said very well, the ladies there deserve respect. They're doing what they need to do. They're doing it for their
They were so
reasons.
fun and cool and nice and sweet to
Right.
be around.
And
you know?
that's
So,
why I did this video, you know, the way I did the video about book your stay. If this is a place that you're interested in, if you
hey,
want to go, if
if
you
you
want to
think
learn
your
about
resistance against ghosts is strong, test
Go.
yourself.
this, yeah.
That's
yeah,
what I learned about myself. That I'm ghost resistant. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
'Cause I went up to
Until
the third
next
floor.
ghost comes
I
along
didn't
and
feel
knocks
a
you on your
thing.
ass.
And I had the best night's sleep.
That's
Out
how
of
it
all the
goes.
300 houses I've ever been to, I slept the best at the Shanley Hotel.
Yeah.
The
Are
best.
you sure it was you sleeping, Donny?
It was
You
a
weren't,
happy
like-
dream. It was a cool dream. I was like, and I woke up refreshed.
Were you
Hoover got me
sleeping in
bad.
the bordello, Donny?
No, I was actually sleeping in the gentleman's club
Okay.
with Tony and Jack.
Okay.
Actually, the worst sleep I ever got was Hoover. Hoover messed me up bad. The dream messed me up bad.
Yeah.
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 I'll
but
tell you about that later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But you kind of worked it out. Thank you, Donny, again for being here and pulling all this together. I'm sorry we didn't get to do it last week, but as you see, it deserved
It was
its own
worth it
episode.
in the end
So
because
it
we got
worked,
this awesome
but
experience.
it worked the way it was
Yeah.
supposed to work. So I love you all so much. We're going to get out of here tonight. Please note that I am trying something new too. I'm not changing anything. I'm adding one. I'm trying to do something. I don't know if I'm going to do it Saturday nights. I think Tuesday is cool because it's in the middle of the week and nobody's doing, you know what I mean? So, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I'm trying to do one that I can manage. I really enjoyed not being sick, but when I was sick, you guys really, it was wonderful to just be in chat, talk with you all, and listen to something. So I'm going to try to do Mystery Tuesdays. I have a really cool one coming up. It's a CBS murder mystery, and it's about a Ouija board story. So I thought that was kind of cool, kind of goes with this. And another story, like a cautionary tale about a Ouija board, an actual true story of a woman telling something that happened. And it's a listen along with me show, so we can listen to a mystery together and have fun in the chat and guess what's happening and everything. And it was fun for everybody just to touch base, but a nice quiet kind of show. So I'm going to try to do that Tuesday. It's on there now, and please go in and be a part of it. It's something you want to do. I'd love to see y'all. And then tomorrow night we're doing Mystery with Steve. I don't know what it's going to be, but we always have fun. I love being with my buddy, and I'm so proud of him, and I couldn't be more happy for all the things that's going on with that wonderful channel, Missing Persons and Mysteries. So fantastic. Everybody's great. I hope you're great where you are. If you're not good where you are, make it good. Change your situation or change your vantage point, your outlook. Don't give those crazy people that are pulling all that negative, trying to bring that negative to your life. Just cut it off. Block it like Donny blocked all the stuff in this place and walked through. Basically walking through hell and came out unscorched. So there you go. I love you all. Love you, Donny. You always bring so much to the show and your research and your
Thank you.
ideas. And we love having you, baby. And Laura, thank you again, darling. Thank you guys so much. You guys are the show. So there you go. And out we go. Listen, keep your feet under those covers, baby, and keep your closet door shut, because by golly, there are things that go bump in the night. I love you, man. Good night, everybody. We're out of here if I can find it. I'm so messed up tonight, I swear. Yep, I think we got it. Oh, don't forget, before we go, I wanted to give Tony one more. Right here, where Steve and Tony are going to be together. It is August 13th, coming right up in Paris, Tennessee. I'm not going to read off all the names. You see them. It's wonderful people. My gosh, there's something for everybody here. And support our wonderful friend Steve. If you can go, go. If not, maybe just share it out and give them some boosters, okay?
If you can't go to that, come to Gettysburg.
Yep, come to Gettysburg Bash.
Party with us at Gettysburg.
Give me a hug.
Yeah.
If you're coming to mess with me, you're going to get the horns. Other than that, come and give me a hug, and I love you. Good night. That's an end. We're going out. There we go.